GAN something, GAN lines. GAN lines coming through today on the, yeah, get the protractors ready. I got to go into my grade 8, you know, sort of a school bag there. I don't know, when did we use protractors? Grade 5? 130 right now coming through on that play for ARM. So yeah, I don't mind it. I'm going to stick with the best, and that's going to be NVIDIA. We did get out of our TQs. So right now,
slide rule.
We're just long right now, NVIDIA. So let's just wait to see if it comes back up. I am looking for 109 as a play to get out of a few shares on NVIDIA. All right.
So I just remembered something. Yeah. Remember that size that was walking up DJT? When it gets filled, you can't hit it because it's short sell restricted. So there was no chance to punch that guy. He just walked it up for 30 to 40 cents on the bid, just higher and higher and higher. When it finally broke, it's trying to head down now, but you couldn't hit the bid. You just have to leave it in there as it's SSR. I did get a reload. It's not at VWAP, but if 16 breaks, we're out of it. But let's get into some GAN.
Oh yeah, the GAN theory.
GAN theory.
Or GAN lines, I think it was.
Is it GAN lines?
It's like tan lines.
Yeah.
It's like tan lines, but it's
I don't have to worry about that.
Right there.
I'm just saying.
All right, let's go over
Never my problem.
To the midday show and learn more about GAN lines.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That is your girl, Adara, and I'm Sharif. And we're on our way. Oh, we already have some people over from the other chat. A little quicker today. We got the OG Darwin dancing up a storm. What's up to you, my man? We got Mr. Jonathan. We got Cesar Sandoval and Peter Piccini, Jeremy Newman and Big Adam DeLuce, Easy Trader, Only Allen, as well as Benton C and Big Bob Dub flexing his muscle up on us there. TH, we got Mary S. Lyman and Kunal Lodia, Gabby McBoston, Pattern Day Trader, not the rule though, just a pattern day trader. I like that too. Very clever with the names. We got Andrew Chow, Gorev, Christopher Holcomb and the Huang family, Max Trades and Investing, as well as Derek Thompson and Small Town Pyro. Okay. The Piper, Blue Arrow and Draco joining us from Rocky 4 as well. Jeff Wilson, and we got Italian Honeybees, Fiddlebeck, Racer X9, Paul Goodson, Adara, and Marty telling us, let's go to you as well. Good morning, Adara.
Thank you. Let's go to everybody here, and let's go to Sharif. How are you doing this fine morning, Sharif? I like your blue hoodie sweater. It looks very comfortable and very warm in this office that can also often be a little chilly, but the people in it are very warm-hearted. What am I saying? I have no idea. But yeah, no, how's it going? How's life?
It's very good. Looking at, I think this is the first time I've ever loaded up UVIX, the UVIXY. Looking at the VIX today, the 2 times VIX ETF, UVIX on the Amex exchange, up nicely here, 11 1/3, Fabian. Good look for them. It did break through $6, but yeah, down into that 570 area. So much to talk about, Adara. There's a whole bunch of small cap gappers, a whole bunch of big tech plays, obviously with the future really taking a bath. We saw the big boys trading that on the morning show. We'll talk a lot about that. But you have a couple of trades that if you want to discuss, we can get to that, or otherwise I can just get into the lesson.
I'd love to talk about my trades. Sure. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. Hi, everybody. Happy to be here. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls. Shout out to everybody. And I'm in, well, I was in 2 trades. One of them I got out of, and I'll talk about that in a minute. IWM, though, I'm long right now. I really like this look. We had that 205. I had this on my side chart. I always have EWM on my side chart. That is just like a rule. I have some side charts that don't leave. IWM is one of them. But basically, I saw us kind of holding on to that 9 EMA or the area really beautifully, pushing higher. I'm going to add if we get above this 27 area, which we're pushing into, and then we'll be moving the risk as we go. One of my biggest issues, I have not been risking enough. So I'm going to give this IWM a little bit of room to run as long as, what I realize is as long as I'm risking my risk units, I don't need to move things every 5 seconds. My issue is I would be moving stops way too much yesterday, and I stopped myself out of some great opportunities that I really did not allocate the appropriate amount of risk to. So we're going to be careful with that. I'm giving IWM 75 cents. We'll see what we do at 204.75. Once I add, that's when we can start moving stops to break even, but I haven't added yet. So why am I doing that? Lots of red coming in this year book, but we're going to see in a moment there. Also, Gumeh. I had a brief long here in GME. Happy with how I managed it. I want to shout out Obi. He and I were talking in the kitchen this morning. He was like, oh, what are you looking at? I was like, I'm looking at GameStop. And he was like, yeah, that 20 level is pretty interesting on GameStop. And look what we do coming into the 20s. We make a beautiful bottoming tail candle here of 1930s, up like a rocket, push higher. I was like, yeah, like I was kind of trying to take the 20 breakout. I had these 2 lines. as places to add. We kind of wicked into one of them, then we fell. I risked 10 cents, I lost 10 cents. As Neil says, your losing trade should be boring. This one was, and it was boring, and it was GameStop. So I am honestly really happy with that. Shout out to Sean, who we were always talking about real trading. What I've realized is real trading does not have just one look. Real trading means different things to different people. I've been trying to trade P&L a lot less. Like I said, I'm working on progress and learning. Yesterday was my first red day in a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. A little bit of a hit, but you know what you do? You brush that dirt off your shoulders, shout out to Jay-Z, and you just keep going. So I was trying to think of another Jay-Z song, but it's all good there. Side charts on Watch For Me, GME, DJT, SPY, ORCL, AVGO, IWM, SPUX, PLTR. How are you doing over here with GAN lines?
Let's talk about these GAN lines, baby. So welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into one of the more fascinating areas of technical analysis known as GAN lines, developed by an individual by the name of W.D. Gann. Funny enough, who was an influential 20th century trader. These lines are designed to help us predict price movements using geometric angles. Hence why I was telling the Katina Man, the Neil, to tell you to get your protractors ready. I haven't used one since, I guess, middle school. So while GAN lines might seem a little complex because they use geometry and the such, they do offer unique insights into trends and turning points. By the end of this lesson, we hope not only to understand how to draw these GAN lines, but to know how to apply them to real world trading. So let's get right to business. And as we always do, we're gonna start a little bit general here and talk about some of the basic stuff of GAN lines before we get into a little bit more of the details. So let's begin with what GAN lines are. Essentially, GAN lines are trend lines drawn from significant highs and lows. So if you're in an uptrend, you're drawing from low to high, downtrend, high to low. But unlike these traditional trend lines, they are constructed at specific geometric angles. The most famous of these angles is the 45-degree angle. So according to Gann, the 45-degree angle represents the perfect balance here between time and price, where for every unit of time, there is an equal price movement, hence why he considers it the perfect. But why focus, though, on geometric angles? What's the hook here? So Gann believed the markets were governed by natural laws, as he explained, including geometry, and that price movement follows predictable paths that can be plotted at specific angles. So why didn't he just stop at the 45 degree? He posits that 45 degrees is the best end of these angles. So why there? Well, he knows the market's a little bit more nuanced than that. So instead of just focusing only on 45, he has many different angles. We're not going to cover all of them here, but some of them, just so you understand, 63.75, 75 degrees in the or the less acute, I should say, angles. And then, for the flatter trend lines, he's looking at 26.25, 15. A quick internet search will get you all the different angles he outlines, but that's not really the point of the lesson. The point of the lesson is to show you how to draw them and how to use them. So each of these lines, by the way, serves as a form of dynamic support and resistance as price moves across them. So, for example, in a rising market, the price might find support at that 45-degree line, but if it breaks, the next level of support could be that 63.75, et cetera. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We're going to use them one line at a time. So this is kind of how they look here. This is the area high. You draw that first 45-degree angle into the area low, but as you can see, many different lines. There's that 63.75, 71.5, 75, 82, all for these areas that act actually as support, which is interesting enough. Then, as an area of resistance, you have 26.25, again at 18.75, 15, 7. Again, you can search these online to find out which angles he uses, but this is kind of how it's drawn there, with the most important of which being that 45-degree angle right in that middle of that right angle, the 90 degrees. So obviously we know that there's something like this, right? Fibs. I mean, we've used this kind of thing before. They're not diagonal lines, but they're horizontal. So some of you may be already familiar with Fibonacci fan lines, right? Because you draw those through the different retracement levels on Fibonacci's, which are often compared to Gann lines. But let's briefly talk how they differ and where they overlap. So both Gann lines and fibs are used to identify, obviously, potential areas of resistance and support. However, Fibonacci fans are based on key Fibonacci levels. We know those to be 38.2, 62.8, yada, yada, yada. We know all those. While Gann lines, on the other hand, are focused exclusively on geometry and not percentage retracements from the high or the low. They're focused exclusively on geometry and not percentage retracements from the high and the low. Okay? So here's where it gets interesting. Gann lines are meant to be used at precise angles, independent, of course, of market conditions, while fibs, these Fibonacci fan lines, on the other hand, are based on retracement percentages from the previous move, as I just mentioned. So in both cases, when the price breaks one of these lines, it often continues to the next line, offering new levels of either potential support or resistance. So kind of use the same way, but they don't show up in the same areas because they're not based on the same calculations. So here's the look. So this is your Gann lines, and this is where your fibs meet. And we'll get to that in a second because you can use them in conjunction with one another. But just the point to tell you is that fib lines, you have your percentage retracements from the top, and then you draw these trend lines to go through those angles based on the percentage of retracements, whereas Gann lines, you're basically measuring 45 degrees or whatever angle from the top or from the bottom, wherever you're charting from. So that's kind of the look there. So let's talk about some of the practical applications that we can use Gann lines for in everyday trading. The first and the foremost is identifying key areas of support and resistance. So in an uptrend here, you draw Gann lines from the low to the highs at the specified angles. We know what those are: 45 degrees, 63.75, and so on. Just to do a quick internet search, you'll find out what those angles are. These lines act as guides where the price might find support if it starts retracing. For example, if the price begins falling and breaks that 45-degree line, it suggests, deeper correction, potentially even getting into that 63.75. So we always start at that 45. If 45 is not factoring in there, then we go to the next one, 63.75, etc. The other practical application we can use Gann lines for is predicting market turning points. In other words, reversals. So by analyzing where the price interacts with Gann lines, you can predict these reversal points. So if price falls below the Gann line but fails, for example, to break another of the Gann line support levels, so if it breaks 45 but finds support at 63.75, this may signal the end of the downtrend and a continuation back of the uptrend. So always be alert. Just because 45 got broken doesn't mean that 63.75 is, and 45 could be reclaimed quick as you like. The other practical application is dynamic trend lines for different time frames. So the beautiful thing about Gann lines is they're fractal, like a lot of technical analysis. So one feature of Gann lines is their adaptability across time frames, whether you're looking at the daily, you're looking at the weekly, or even the minute chart. Gann lines can be applied. The geometric nature of Gann lines means they adjust according to the scale of the chart, providing you with a consistent framework of trend analysis. And last but not least, combining, in the practical application that is, combining Gann lines with other TA, I'm going to submit to you fibs, okay? And I kind of showed you a little bit of an example of the chart earlier with fibs and Gann lines. When Gann lines can stand on their own, they've become, so when Gann lines can stand on their own, they're successful and even more successful when combined with moving averages or even fibs. For example, if a Fibonacci level coincides with a Gann line, I don't know why I'm sweating. Take a quick swig of water over here, Katina, man. Take one of these bad boys as well. Thank you, sir. I got it. Oh, sweating up a storm over here, Darren. All right. So, for example, if a fib level coincides with a Gann line, thank you, Sean, the chances that that level holds as support or resistance, depending on where you're coming from, actually increases. Let's talk about some of the criticisms and the controversies of Gann lines, because nothing is without its drawbacks. Now, while Gann lines have their enthusiasts, not everybody's sold on them. First is which line is going to work. So one challenge with gain lines is the uncertainty around which line holds as support and resistance. The default setting is to always look at 45, but 45 sometimes doesn't feature, right? So with 9 different gain lines potentially at play here, it's not always clear which one is the most impactful. So that's always been a criticism. There's also a criticism of the geometric nature of the trend line. So some chartists argue the idea of geometric trend lines is just too rigid, right? Market conditions are often far more chaotic than a simple, rigid pattern. What rigid pattern might suggest, making gain lines unreliable in certain market environments. And there's also the lack of the predictive certainty, right? Even if one of the lines holds, there's no way to predict which one will until after the price reacts to it, right? So you got to wait for the price action to come into that line, find support, and then you can make the judgment. So this can make gain lines more reactive really here than predictive, especially in those fast-moving markets. So despite these criticisms, though, many traders find value in gain lines when used in conjunction with other analysis methods. And just to conclude, guys, gain lines are powerful tools, but they are by no means good on their own. Sometimes they come into play on their own, better used though with fibs, moving averages, and the like. I hope everybody prints up a storm on the day.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, Sharif, for the preparing those lessons and delivering those lessons as always. I'm long the Qs. I want to talk about it. Don't love this entry. Okay, I don't dislike this entry. We're holding it beautifully, which is why I got in. But I was trying to get in here at 435, 450, 350. So obviously that would have been the better entry, but wasn't able to get filled. I watched kind of to see us push above these levels, and I like that we were pushing above this previous chop and turn level here. You guys know I love support resistance flips. One of my favorite styles. It's very playbook for me. I'm still trying to develop a playbook, but one of my favorite playbooks is going to be those support resistance flippity floppities. And so that's what I did here. I was able to, like I said, try to do things with risk units. And if it's not worth risking a risk unit, why are you taking it? So that's going to be a percentage of your risk. Figured that out here for the Qs, so not risking anything too crazy here. It's pretty realistic. We're going to see what we do here. 554 25s. Since I've gotten in, we have not even nudged our little nose, Cass will be like, we haven't even gotten our head near or below. I don't like that analogy. The 550 450 area. So as long as we stay below or above that area, we're good. Now, you might be asking, why are you trying to take some profit out here? Look at that wick. Now, to be clear, I don't know if 8 a.m. wick is the best level to use for an out. Like I said, I'm trying to work on my outs as we go, but I'm very interested here in adding, or not adding. We'll be getting out some if we get to 554 50s or 555 15s. To be clear, we struggled getting above the whole dollar levels since I've been watching this. Like that 554 was like a push. So I'm comfortable with this level. Then, if we get out, we take some profit. Adara, are you looking to add? Why, yes, I am. Adara, then why aren't you adding now? I do not have the buying power, but we will be adding some if we're able to get that profit there at 415 15s. 455 15s. What numbers am I saying, Sharif? And then we'll be adding back at that 454 75 level. I really like that level. We're holding on to it as of right now for support. We'll see if this continues. I'm going to give it to my 454 25s because my biggest issue is I wasn't giving things enough risk. And with that in mind, we have to talk about IWM because, oh boy, IWM. This is what happened here with IWM. This is just tragic. I would have words for it. To be clear, I was going to be risking it to break even, got out break even, but it's I could have given it to at least 205s. I don't know why I did. I think I still would have gotten stopped out. Either way, it would have given what I wanted, which was at 205 80s. Alas, did not work out how I wanted it to. That's how stocks go sometimes. That's how life goes sometimes. That 205 30 area was pretty hard resistance. If it comes back and bounces there, I might be tempted to get into a long. GME still below 20s here. It popped above 20s. I tried to get long at the top of that consolidation range there that I'll show you guys. It was going to be 1993s. I did not get filled. We popped into 20s, then we came right back. So I think that level is still in play. I am not playing it as of right now, but I have eyes on it. Guys, if there's any tickers you're looking at right now, let us know in the chat. !, join, space, $, whatever tickers you're fancy. I'm always down to look at tickers for people right now as well, but I am a little bit preoccupied with my futures. Preoccupied. Because the Qs. Also, it's worth noting, too, I know I don't trade the TQs or the SQs. That's because I find when I'm in those lever tickers, I make absolutely terrible decisions. And by that, I mean, I won't risk enough. I'll risk way too much. I will just make, why are you doing this? And I feel comfortable trading the SPY. So I was like, Adara, if you're comfortable trading the SPY, why are you not comfortable trading the unlevered Qs? That's why I started doing that. I just want to address it. Speaking of the SPY, it's coming into VWAP. I have eyes on it, or spies on it, if you will, but I like the setup on the Q's better, so I chose my fighter. That was the fighter I chose. I see you're having another dip into garlic aioli over here.
I did. I just missed getting printed at 78, so now it's coming down into 68. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this one. A holdover from yesterday, small cap gapper. This is a resistance flip here at $1.70, Fabian, because this area is the area we topped out at, and then we came back in to test it. So I'm going to give this one the old community college try and see what we get. People yelling out about, well, not people. There was one individual. I want to shout him out there. Johnny Nadal commenting about Lucid. Did not have eyes on this one. Lucid getting the, well, not really much of a nod today. There was BofA Securities maintaining Lucid with coverage neutral and 355 price target. You had Needham also chiming in with a hold. I don't see the price target there for Needham. Let's see. The Katina man is short stock sell at the moment, so he's taking these futures. He's taking them short. I'm sorry, the chips short. So shout out to him. I'll keep an eye out on the chips. I see Intel down there 1.25 and mixed bag there. Some green, some red there. SMCI, geez. Okay, SMCI and ARM. Strong today from my quick look there. Lucid showcases new Gravity SUV, teases affordable crossover EV. We've all been waiting for that G6 SUV. Well, I don't know, everyone. I've been waiting for it. So anyway, possibly moving as a result of this headline, and then some analyst commentary today as well. So we'll keep tabs on that. Back to AILE, still holding that technical area of previous resistance, that $1.70 or so. So we'll pack our patience here. Disappointed I didn't get filled. I think that this would be a good at spot with a nice out at 62, 60s. I'm going to wait a little bit lower. If we can get 66s, I'll wait at 66, see if I can get something there. Give me a bit of a better price. Okay, the future looks like it's rejecting 18.7, Katina man. Looking at the future over here, we did a nice little umbrella pattern. Shout out to Adara. Big move up through 18.9 into 18.925, but that was as good as it was going to get, baby, because we dropped 400 points, Sean, from the top of the print this morning at 9:20 a.m. to the bottom there, 18,547 LOD on the NQ. And then we did, a nice 150-point move up from 18.5.5 right back into 18.7. But that's where we met some selling there, kind of anticipate. We know that 100-point levels are areas of support and resistance. That's nothing new on the future. So we'll keep tabs on this one, doing a bit of an umbrella pattern, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the story. We could get a higher low. Who knows? Who knows? So let's pack our patience and see what the future brings us. But right now, it does look like it is a sell the pop kind of sitch on these here futures. All right, let's look at some of the small cap gappers. These looked a lot better when I put them on. Now they're looking kind of, yeah, okay. This one is the number one gapper on the day. CNEY, almost up 300%, was up 300%. In fact, at the highs, it is a $3 million market cap. It's traded almost 200 million shares on the day, and the float is a huge 2.2 million shares, and I say huge jokingly there. Let's find out what the short float is. Shout out the Nos boss and his boys over there at Trade Ideas. CNEY, 1.66% of that 2.3 million share float is borrowed for short, so not much to talk about there. I like this at $1.05. There was obviously a dollar trade to be had. The only issue, my only issue with this is it claimed a buck there at 4:55 a.m. in the morning on lower volume. Decent volume for that time of the day, 2.5 million shares, but this thing's traded almost 200 million. Anyway, so it takes that dollar level in the pre. It is above VWAP right now. As a breakout trade, I still like it, but I'd like it better if it was to set up a little bit better than how it's setting up right now. So CNEY in focus. WOOF is in focus, but it's off the highs. And as you can see, the real move was well, that double bottom there at 15.5. We'll keep tabs on WOOF. I don't like the way that it's setting up right now. AILE, I'm obviously involved in that right now. I did get the fill at 69, so we're break even at the moment. Still holding that 10 exponential on the 5. We'll have to see if this one gives up the ghost at my stop. PLCE as well. Very strong name. This one you're going to have to be a bit careful with because the range per candle is kind of wide, as you can see. Very wicky here on the 5-minute chart. It behooves me to give you the details on this one as well. So it's up 64 some odd percent. It's $102 million market cap, so it's a bit bigger, not big. 37.5 million shares traded today with an 11.75 million share float. Let's find out what the short float is. This is huge. Big boy short float alert on PLCE. 47.5% of that 11 and change million share float is being borrowed for short. Obviously, that could be up to 2 weeks old, but that tells me that this has the possibility to go parabolic. So we'll see if this one can break that 8.75 HOD. It is still tradable as a breakout under my system because it's still trading above that volume weighted average price, doing the dance with $8 right now. GME obviously on watch after its earnings report yesterday. This has been doing kind of a similar look to yesterday, where it works its way back into the volume weighted average price and rejects every single print south or subsequent, to 935 has rejected off VWAP. So we'll keep tabs on this one. It's doing the dance right now with the $20 area. Last but not least, another holdover from yesterday, BKYI. It looked okay percentage-wise, but when you look at the chart, kind of similar to GameStop in that it's moving back into VWAP and then finding that key area of resistance and then retracing off that. So I'll keep tabs on all of these, Adara, but we'll have to keep tabs on the one we're actually trading in right now. And nicely, we're in the money, but still haven't printed.
Nice. I hope your garlic aioli tastes delicious. I am now getting out of my second trade here on the futures, second L as well, and I want to talk about it. Where are my keys? There we go. Okay. So basically, the reason I'm getting out of this is because if I can get filled, okay, futures, come on now. There we go. So the reason, okay, I'm really disappointed in myself. The short, whatever, that's fine. The long upsets me because I saw something in the book that freaked me out, and I didn't trust it. And I don't know why I didn't trust it. That 450, 450s. That was my entry point. We held it beautifully. Like I said, we never got below it after I got into the trade. We never did. That does not happen very often, right? Then we start kind of, I was going to risk, to be clear, into 450, 425s. And then I was like, oh, well, let's wait. Let's see. Yeah, no. Oh, my gosh, Adara, you see something like that, you run for the hills. So a little disappointed in myself. Then I got involved in the short. 450, 475. I was going to risk into 474. Oh, sorry, 474.25, risking to 474.75. I'm aware that's giving it a lot of room to run, but I had a really small position. The plan was to add when we broke below 454. We did. Then we came right back up. I got out at 454.40s because that was basically, once I was in the short, that kind of became a lower high. So that's why I used that level. Still, 3 trades, 3 out. Okay, I was flat on IWM, so it's not a profit. But the thing is, too, you don't want to be taking, like, my thing that I realized is I think why I've been having issues with my stops is because I've been so worried about making profit. Why am I trading P&L? Don't do that. Trade progress, trade learning. That's my take on that. That being said, I don't want to necessarily try a third round with the Qs here. They still can't get above 450, 475s. That's a little bearish still, but I will be very cautious. I will be waiting. I'll be scheming. I will be plotting. I will be scheming, and I will maybe be getting money. We'll see. It's a bit of a bull flag setup, which is why I'm waiting. I think if we have a nice hold here, a nice hold of 450, 475s, and then we break above 455s, which, by the way, we really could not earlier. Let me tell you what I saw. Oh. So we break above that 455s. I get long 455s. I risk into 450, 475s. That could maybe be a look, but it's not a look yet. I'm waiting. I am watching. When I got long the Qs, what I really should have been doing was getting long Tesla at that 219 because I had that look and I was like, oh, but you're watching the Qs anyway. Just trade those. To which I say, Adara, pardon? Excuse me? But it's all good. Like, as much as I'm, being maybe a little bit cynical here, I am, you got to be entertaining for the show. I'm always in a pleasant mood over here about these trades, even if I don't feel great about them. Like I said, there were some trades yesterday I found disgusting that I made. That's the truth. But you learn from those trades. You figure out why those trades didn't work. In my case, it has to do with my stops. That's I think, the next frontier for me. But you know what? 3 losing trades, but Sharif, it's only 11:28 a.m.
Yeah, exactly, Adara. That was going to be my response to you.
We're here till 2 p.m., so there's going to be some more trades. So happy to be able to learn with you guys every single day. Thank you so much to Pretty Panda for the shout out. I'll look at some other stocks for some people now. Someone was mentioning Pinterest earlier, so hopefully the stock hasn't had, I always forget this is on the NY. Hopefully this stock doesn't have anybody in any pins and needles. I'm gonna look at pins. Yeah, like I said, guys, still looking at Qs, still looking at SPY, but I'm not taking any trades till anything sets up for me, so I want to take some time to look at things for others, because that's what we do here. Also, Microsoft actually kind of spicy, but I'll deal with him later. So let's talk about Pinterest. Oh, wow, Pinterest. This might be Winterest if you're long, because look at that. Green coming in here. But, I mean, if you look at it's pretty bearish if you look at this chart. I don't really have a read on this. Higher highs, higher lows, but the way it's moving is so parabolic that it'd be really hard to, like, find a place to risk in here, right? Like, if you go long here, 29.20s, you risk into, like, what is this, 28.95. That's not bad. That's 25-cent risk. But you're, like, the chance of us getting back to that 29.75s seems a little bit iffy. And I'm actually going to see if this one has any news, because that spike up on volume and then the petering out looks very newsy. Oh. So let's shout it to the movie Newsies that I believe young Christian Bale was in, I think. But I'm trying to figure out if I'm not seeing anything on this. On the Twitterverse is not super interested in what occurred here. But yeah, like we did have that spike. I'm still trying to figure out what that is about. But thank you guys for letting us know about this. Higher highs, higher lows. As far as I see, Dominic wants to talk about CNEY. This seems like a Sharif name, and by that I mean it's probably.
I talked about it.
Oh yeah, you already did. That's what I thought as well. So shout out to you though, Dominic. Seems like you were making some Monet. And there was one other one I wanted to look at for people. Woof. People wanted to look at Woof. Yes, I was shouting out Woof, and then 10 minutes later, Woof. Sharif's like, oh yeah, Woof popped. I was like, oh, because I was like making a joke. I was like, big dog. Shout out to Woof because they had earnings. And then Sharif's like, oh, did you see Woof popped? And I said, I did not. But yeah, this guy's barking. If I can, this one's on the NQ. Woof. Who let the dogs out? Apparently, the Woof CEOs in the earnings report. Those earnings weren't great either. I saw that. But again, it's not earnings aren't good or bad. It's how the market reacts to them. The market is barking mad for Woof earnings. Wow. Wow. Talk about inverse umbrella handle patterns. By that, I mean like sharp move down, push back up. The umbrella is when you've got a sharp move up and then a move down. So umbrella is bearish, inverse umbrella is bullish. You got that move down, down, down. Like this thing does not, basically what I mean is it's a steeper version. I guess Elliott Wave-ish maybe too. It's a steeper version more or less of an uptrend. I like this look on Woof. I have my eyes on some things. I honestly still like a futures long here, but we'll see how I figure out if I play it and if I play it through the SPY or the Qs, but I think I'll do the Qs. How are you doing?
First print Adara at 74 is looking for the next one at 81 now. So we're moving up here quite nicely, Fabian. This was I'm happy with this ad. I was sticking to my bias, which was this is on the way up. It's a holdover from yesterday. And you know, these small cap gappers, we always talk about them being around for a good time and not a long time. So when I see a holdover from the day prior that's still strong, it catches my attention. Because usually these ones, I'm not saying it's a hard and fast rule, but these small cap gappers, they typically retrace the next day. All right, into 78s we go. I'd like to wet my beak at around 81s because I know that we've been having trouble with 80s. I know that for a fact. Every single closing print south of 81. But we do have these outlying wicks over here, these areas of liquidity that we were able to grab up into 84. So I think that 81 is a reasonable level to have it at. We'll see exactly what we get, and then we'll hold a piece to see if it runs up more. 79's now printing. Let's see if we can get 80 on the ask there. 28's. Look, there's obviously an iceberg here, and that typically is normal for these small cap gappers. Topping tail, and here it comes down again. So a lot of zig, a lot of zeg on this name to be expected. You're going to find that volatility, that's the word I'm looking for, right back into 76 again. So we'll see what we get there. I will also mention Pretty Panda calling out a really good one as well. PLCE, this is up 60%. All right, so it's not a light move, but we talked about it on the side charts there. This is the 30-minute look, but that's not the look I want to show you. I want to show you the 5. The reason Pretty showed it to me is because I think it's doing the VWAP dance. Got into that 875. Obviously, some resistance there above 8.5. No closing prints north of 8.5. You only have wicks. Let me put in the ticker. Sorry, guys. I apologize about that. PLCE. There it is. Yeah, you know, this software is not that good. I tried to have the ticker there, but it just doesn't work. Anyway, it's doing the dance with VWAP and $8. So it's a bit rangy. Look, it dips into 775, and then it has a range up to 8 1/3. That's just, you know, that's its consolidation range, it looks like here. So Pretty Panda calling this one out. I've already got it on the side chart, 61%. I already gave you the deets on it. This one holds VWAP for much longer. You know, you could get in here and put your out near the candle or the prior low of the previous candle. I like the chart on the 5. Execute on the 1. The low over here, 770. So you can put it at 768, whatever. to try and hold that VWAP area. You're going to have to give yourself some room because you've seen its propensity to breach VWAP, although it's on a wick basis, not a closing basis. So this one's doing a good job over here of holding VWAP. Maybe it becomes a VWAP hold high of day break candidate, and I'll talk about that trade a little bit later on. Anyway, back here into AILE. So 2 wicks now into 180, both of which can't breach. I should start being on the lookout here for a possible double top manifestation at that 180 area, because now we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks in the last like half an hour or so. Can't breach 180 on a closing basis. You were able to wick up to it. But look at this, lower highs on the wicks. So maybe sellers getting a bit exuberant here, overwhelming buyers incrementally. Keep an eye on this one. Still in the money on it. Nothing really to concern ourselves with. But Adara, you know how these small cap gappers are. The bottom can drop off at any minute.
I do, and they can, and that is what makes them so exciting for you. I know you really love trading those, so shout out to Sharif on that. Okay, we took another L here on the Qs. I'm going to talk about it. Basically, I got long. I was trying to get long 455. Got long 455 15s, which, to be clear, an entry I still stand by, because look at all of these wicks here. That was a level I liked. I was going to use it as my stop on the first, no, my entry point in the first long. We broke into 450, 475s. I got out. Taking a moment here, breathing, living, loving, learning, laughing life. It's not even like all of the calls here have been incorrect. I had the first Q long idea, just had that move back down, and then I played it incorrectly. Like the IWM, same thing. That long would have worked out. The risk was an issue, whatever, right? But it doesn't matter if your idea is right. It's about how you time it. That being said, IWM getting kind of spicy here for me, because look what we're doing. We're pushing into 206.22s. Now, we wick into it once. We wick into it twice. We could do. If we break above this level, I like it. I would risk it into the 206s. Whole dollar level. Don't necessarily love that as like a risk area, but it is right above VWAP there. It also, we had some of those wicks into that area earlier. So I do prefer, though, the 205.80 level. That was where I was going to be taking profit in that initial long. So we'll see what happens here on EWM. Probably the stock that's setting up for me the best right now. That being said, another stock I liked was Mr. Softy. Where did I like Mr. Softy and why did I like him? I'll tell you. So, Softy here, to be fair, rejecting hard at that 411.70 area, but we have this, very similar to what I saw in the Qs that I liked as bullishness. We have that bottoming tail candle here. Then we get higher highs, higher lows. This book is super volatile. That's the other thing. I'm kind of just trying to wait for an easy entry point here in levels I like. I'm just waiting. I think that IWM, I probably missed my entry, but I like that look. Microsoft I like here as well, but also we have to be thanking some people here at Firefly. Absolutely, Adair. Thank you for that. Firefly Neurosciences is revolutionizing brain health. Our groundbreaking brain network analytics technology is transforming care for patients with depression, dementia, anxiety, concussions, and ADHD. With 15 years of research and a wealth of brainwave data, we're set to illuminate the future of diagnostics and treatment. Pharmaceutical companies and medical practitioners, get ready. FDA 510K cleared BNA technology is here to supercharge your clinical trials and enhance patient care. Join us at Firefly Neurosciences, traded on the NASDAQ as AIFF, and be part of the next big leap in neurosciences. Ignite hope, one brain at a time. And I gotta shout out that company, because we did the interview with them, and I was very, very impressed, to be honest, with some of the technology that they were saying. And again, as I said to the CEO that day, we're always going to champion your cause, so long as it's a noble one. And I think that brain health and definitely some of that stuff in terms of mental health definitely needs to be looked at in this day and age. So shout out to them. Anyway, back with AIL over here, AILE. This is having a lot of issues in the high 70s area. I could wet my beak here at 76. That's not the move. I'd like to hold for a little bit higher of a move, knowing full well that 180 is kind of holding me back. But I want to talk about another one here. GME has been at VWAP for a hot minute, and this is interesting because while it's not breaching VWAP and $20 are almost in the same area.
So this is interesting here as a possible short. Now, on the floor, this is going to be a pay for shorts type situation. So, you know, we're going to have to figure out whether we want to get shorts for this bad boy or not. But this is an interesting area here for GME. Another interesting area that I'd like to look at if this $20 and VWAP gets taken is this area low, 230, 233 generally. Look at that pre-market trough there that we got to, and then we bounced back up above 21. So I'd like to see if this area acts as a level of resistance, seeing that it acted as support prior to that. So GME, interesting as well. Shout out to Pretty Panda. Pretty Panda, he's pumped here, I'm assuming, because he got in at VWAP or thereabouts on PLCE, and look what it did. It popped up to 8 1/5. So he's able to scalp nicely there. That's not a small amount. That's 40 pennies. If you got in at 780 and got out 820, that's decent. So shout out to him. He was pumped up there. I want to shout him out. This stock is not done by any means, 65%. Put some respect on this one's name. But here we go now with AAPL coming back down into 6.9s, 6.8s. I've already got my stop exactly where I'd like it to be. And that means if my stop does trigger, I will lose on the remaining amount, but I'm holding a couple of beak wetters. I want to see if this one holds and pops through high a day, hopefully without the ensuing bamboozlement that typically happens with the small cap gappers. So keeping my eye on GME, PLCE, and AAPL. What's going on over there, Katina Man? Katina Man's long on NVIDIA again, and I want to mention something that somebody tagged me in the chat there with respect to NVIDIA. It was Paul. Shout out to Paul. So we're going to show the NVIDIA chart in a hot second over here, but Paul bringing something to my attention that I didn't actually know about. We knew that there were going to be Blackwell delays, but I didn't know about this. So NVIDIA's Blackwell overcomes delays as the GB200 reportedly sets for December mass production, reports the Commercial Times and Foxconn. Apparently, I don't know why Foxconn's reporting stuff now. I didn't personally see that headline for NVIDIA, but I may have missed it, and I didn't go through every entry on the news blotter, full disclosure. So shout out to Paul for putting that in the chat, and you look at the NVIDIA chart right now, put some respect on this one's name, baby. It's up 2 1/5, Katina Man, off that 107.5 low of the day, but we're still below that 112 that we printed there at the open. Big boy move up right there at the open there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in another trade here. I am long Microsoft. The thing, yeah, like I said, felt a little bit chopped up, but you know, like as Cardi B says, and you know, I like this quote, fall 9 times, get up 10. I have fallen, you know, in a couple Q trades. Also, the Q long was the right idea. I just played it wrong, went higher. But what you got to do is you wait for new opportunities. I initially, as I said, liked the Microsoft long way down here as we had that kind of bull flaggish look. Then we did, as I said, one of my favorite kind of setups here, when you go from support to resistance. In this case, support, resistance, support. Now, I found more often than not, this isn't going to always set up, but I had this in NVIDIA too, and I played it incorrectly. When you had a support to resistance flip, which already happened, I tried to short it. It's like Adara, what if it flips back to support? That's what Microsoft's doing here. I had levels I liked in the book. I got long at one of those levels. I'm risking into 4.1205s. We kind of had a quick wick right as I got in. We dropped to like 15 pennies, but we didn't drop near my level, so I was good there. In terms of profit takers, where am I getting out first? We're going to be getting out half the position just above 413s. I like this level because look where we wicked into here. And look where we bounced off earlier. Those to me, and like obviously not all wicks are going to matter, especially the 5-minute chart, but I've noticed the Qs really respecting some of those wickish levels. The Meg 7 names kind of respecting some of that as well. So I like that look. NVIDIA recovering really nicely here. Look at that rounded bottom and then pushing higher. It's really the same look we're seeing in a lot of these names, but I think NVIDIA is probably most emblematic of that. It's one of the cleaner looks. Microsoft might actually give us our first beak wetter here.
Get it, Adara.
We'll see. It's really having a hard time with that whole dollar level, but if we can get 413.05s, you know what I'll be, Sharif? Pleased as dang hunch. In terms of areas where I'd add in, once you get a piece out, I might, reload at 412.60s, but I'd have to get my position out first. I will continue to risk this to 412.05s because, like I said, my biggest issue is I haven't been risking enough. If I was willing to lose, however, like 25 cents in this before, I'm willing to lose 25 cents now. That's my biggest issue. I'm happy with this trade as of right now, but things can always change. But also, there's any tickers you're looking at that you're like, do I like it? Do I not? I'm unsure. Who knows? What will Sean and Neil say? Get in that chat, guys. You can find out what Sean and Neil would say. Exclamation point. Do it. Space. $, whatever ticker you choose. Guys, it does not have to be make a cap. It can be any name as long as it's moving. If it's got a little bit of juice, a little bit of action, Sharif can talk about the catalyst or the short float or whatever. You know, if there's anything like that, he will keep you guys in the know.
I will, Adara.
Right? And this audience segment is for you guys. So you have to vote in order for it to work. It is brought to you by Real Trading. Got our first peak winner in Microsoft. Pleased as dang punch here. Let me switch back to the 5. My next level that I'm interested in is going to be 414.30. And given what I already said here about wicks, I don't think I need to tell you why. Wick. So 414.30s, is that a bit ambitious? Sure, but you got to be in this game, I think, sometimes. I will add, depending on what we do here at 412.60s, that I'll be using 1 minute bars here, the kind of those candle breaks as my stop going forward. I'd love to see us get above VWAP. That would be extra bullish for me, but I'm happy with this trade. Happy I took it. That's what you got to have, that where's the next trade mentality. If you get all upset about your trades that didn't work out, then you're not going to take any more trades. And with that in mind, I would like a moment of silence for my Qs long. I got long this, Sharif, 455.15s. We were at 457 forks. So, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I didn't risk enough on this. Maybe I should have gotten back in. It doesn't matter why. That's something I can aggressively journal about. What matters is you get back on that saddle and you keep riding. So let's see if we ride. I don't know what this gesture was. Let's see if we keep riding off in the sunset in MSFT. I don't need to add. I'm okay with the position size I have, and I don't want to add all willy-nilly. To me, the most natural level would be what I saw there on at 412.60s on the book. But if it doesn't manifest for me again, I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good. We're in Ale. Shout out to the Katina man. I don't know why it's not showing up on the board, but I am short GameStop here. And listen to this. Shout out to Real Trading, but also shout out to the Katina man, because he got me these shorts. For 1,000 shares borrow for GameStop, it cost me $1.20. I can't even get shorts on my platform for that. So it's not even available. Forget about the cost. So shout out to Real Trading, the best dang prop trading firm around these parts, no question about it. So we're going to shout them out. And we are short GameStop, and I'm not sure why it's not showing up on the position board, but we are short. And the out is going to be 2011. We're going to wet our beak there in the low 90s. I'm also long AILE. That's showing up on the position board. I was able to add here at 166. I like this range that's establishing here. There seems to be a buyer at the $0.0075. We'll see how long that holds up for until they're exhausted there. Shares, that is. So in this, already positive on it, setting up some beak wetters. It looks like it wants to be a range before it's a breakout, despite the fact that it's above the volume weighted average price. So I'm packing my patience over here on AILE as well as GME in both these names. Shout out to Pretty Dang Panda, because he took the print on PLCE and it is going up. Great VWAP hold. This was a respectable VWAP hold, despite the fact that it wicks through VWAP. The closing prints, for the exception of these two candles, 10.05 and 10.10, every single closing print subsequent to there has been north of the volume weighted average price. So shout out to him. He took that long, I guess, in the mid to high 7s and got out there in the mid to low 8s. So we're packing our patience on both the names that we're in at the moment. Let's go and have a look at what they're doing. We're still doing the dance here with AILE, nothing doing there. We are out of the money, though, a little bit here on Gumma, but I've got my stop exactly where it is, and that's going to stay put, and my beak wetter is going to stay put as well. Want to see what VWAP does here. Obviously, it's been a tough little while for GameStop. I was kind of impressed, got to be honest with you, that they were able to shore up costs a little bit. EPS was a surprise. They actually printed a penny per share profit as opposed to a 9-cent loss expected by analysts, which is not bad, obviously. Shoring up costs is not a sustainable solution. You got to increase revenue. And I think that that is going to be the problem with GameStop. Where do they get the increased revenue from? We've heard some great ideas. They want to switch some of their stores into these retro gaming centers. I don't know what they want to do, if they're going to get into the cloud business, what ideas they have, but revenue needs to increase. It's capitalism, baby. You can't stay. If you're standing still, you're going backwards. And so that's the look there. It's great that he's shoring up costs. I think that's effective, but it's a short-term solution, because if you don't increase revenue, well, you know what happens. So keeping an eye on AILE, GameStop, and I've got Lucid up. Lucid's at an interesting area as well. Let's put some respect on this one's name, up 6%. It's at an interesting area, 3 375, 374. This is an area where there was support earlier on. Look at the umpteen amount of crests that we had into 375 before we took it on a closing basis right at the break of 11 there, 11 a.m., not the price. So let's see whether or not Lucid wants to hold that 3 3/4 or what the situation is, but it's already up 6 1/3, 6 1/2 here, Adair.
Yeah, I mean definitely that's a lucid dream there, I guess, if you're long that name, or it must feel like one. But MSFT, pretty dreamy to me as well. It's kind of a juicy trade there. Shout out to the notorious BIG.
Oh.
I notoriously did not have a great morning today earlier with some of these trades, but you just got to get back out of the saddle, as I said, and that's why I was comfortable taking this Microsoft when it's set up. Now, are we struggling with 414? Oh yeah, to the degree that Sharif, we have not even really nudged our nose against 414. The closest we've gotten was 413.91, I believe, on the book. So I think we're trying that again. I'm using prior bar lows on the 1 minute chart as my stop, though I also have my 5 minute on my side chart because that's my preferred chart to trade off, just to make sure everything's still hunky-dory. Futures as well, just checking that too, because you've got to do that when you're going to be trading these Mag 7 names. Okay, Microsoft pushing above into 414 on the ask. We did not see that earlier. Let's see if this ask can get slapped. Let's see what's going on. Also, with this little doji in the 1 minute, I'm going to be risking to the 1 bar before that. So it'll be like, if we get below 70s, okay, we're breaking down here. That is where we're going to have to say au revoir to the Microsoft. So to be clear, got involved 412.30s, got out the rest of the position 413.70s. Yes, that's correct. So really happy with that trade. I don't mind, like I said, that maybe I'm just still trying to figure out how to move my stops. Like I said, it's something I think I'm definitely working on, and I'm cognizant of that. But you have to take each trade as it comes. Happy with what happened there. If some of these Mag 7 names honestly want to revert short, you guys know I'll take them. And I hate to be trading this many tickers. I hate to have my eyes on this many tickers. I've talked about this a lot. But Apple. Man, Apple. Do I really want to short you here? And I probably missed my opportunity. 220.50, massive area of resistance ahead of the event. 220.50, big breakout area yesterday. 220.50, our last area of support before you have that big quaduk. So we have to see what happens there on these here markets. But before we do that, also, we are going to thank our friends at Benzinga Pro. So are you tired of being late to the trade, Sharif?
I am, Adara.
Right? And are you always playing catch up in the market?
Sometimes.
Are you missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Well, guys, if you're any of those things, Benzinga Pro could be your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial. Also, I might be trialing out and here another trade on IW to the M. What would I be looking for in AOM, you may ask? Well, oh boy. I'm sorry, shout out to Obi with the O boys. But I talked a little bit here about that 206.20 area that we had a couple areas of support in. I think if this thing could do from there, I would take it into at least 205.80s and I'd risk it into that 205.50 area. So you're risking like 20, 25 cents. You're trying to make quite a lot more, at least 45. So I don't mind that look. Let's see what occurs here, though, on this here market. Man, this long was a bit of a missed opportunity. But that's what happens with trading. You live, you learn, you figure it out, and you grow every single day. I'm the type of person where I get motivated by my bad trades even more than motivated by the good ones, because you want to prove yourself wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to prove the market wrong. Mother Market can be your bestie. She can also send you to bread without supper.
Ooh.
But also make sure you get in that chat, !, join space, $, whatever tickers you fancy. A. Henwood asking about stops. Yeah, usually what I'll do, one thing too is I need to work on my confidence. That's why I press that button. Because sometimes I'll see stuff I like in the book and I'll know I should be getting out. It's accused earlier. And then I don't trust myself. So for me, my stops are going to be a little bit more fluid. And that's, like I said, a big thing I'm working on. I usually do trail. It'll be prior bar lows or break even depending on where we're at in the trade. But someone is pumping his fist for Gumme, and I want him to give us all of what's going on there.
Thank you, Adair. I appreciate you there. Again, it's not reflected on the position board. Ram and Fabian, they're doing their best, but it's not reflecting. So I want to tell you about my GameStop short. We're short right now. We just got the print. The idea here is to take a VWAP rejection that is as simple as an idea can get. I'm looking at VWAP, the general area not the price, the general area as resistance. So when I say general area, I say that because that needs to be reflected in your stop. So we just got our beak wet there. We just got our beak wet as well on AILE Adara because we took that, we added it at 166 because somebody's buying this. I don't know why, but somebody's buying this at 166 and you don't need to be a chartered market technician to see that it keeps holding up here. So we've added twice there. We've wet our beak twice. I'd like to get some higher prints, but you know, it's not giving it to me. So I'm sitting at 77s. But I've got more shares, so I can definitely take out some if it does break the top 82. We'll see what we get with AILE up 10.83. It's a holdover from yesterday. It's not the biggest mover on the day. And to be quite frank with you, it is now acting as a range. However, it's ranging above VWAP. So that makes the chances of the top getting taken out higher than if it was trading below VWAP. Obviously, I think that should just be... I'll be on. That should be basically the idea there. You don't need to be a chartered market technician to know that. Get it, Ram. So anyway, I printed there on GME. We're still holding some. I'd like to get some possibly at the $0.75, knowing full well that the low is at 19 1/3. And here we go. Now we're breaking 90s. Let's go down, baby. We'll probably wet our beak at around 75s, in and around that area. There goes the 80s. It's coming down into the 80s. We'll see how low this one wants to get on the day, but it's already bled a little bit, guys. 15 1/5, 15 1/4. Let's be realistic a little bit. So we'll see exactly what we get there. Right back up is AILE. Not much for me to talk about. I'm sorry, I've been talking about, small cap gappers a lot lately, but you know, it's what I've been trading lately. I don't have to trade the Mag 70 every day. You guys know that it's really that group or that group. It's either small cap gappers or the Mag 7. Seldomly will I look at any other names. Obviously, I'll look at the futures as well, but that's been less trading as of that lately. Let's look at Apple. Why not? Because now the future getting a bit of a move down here. As we weaseled our way at Dara, oh, wow. I didn't even really realize that we cleared 18.7 and got to 18.8. And that has, obviously, the future hitting a resistance level. We know these 100-point levels are areas of support and resistance. And you're seeing that reflected essentially on all the Mag 7 names with the two here, NVIDIA and Amazon, I would say faring the best on this little retracement. Amazon's not that far down below the high there through 178. NVIDIA is not even going down. It's consolidated sideways, so the strength in NVDA continues on the day, 2 1/5 in the green. But you look at the likes of Softy coming into that 414 closing print from yesterday, dropping $1.50. Look at Meta getting into VWAP-ish area, 502, dropping almost $3. Jeez Louise. As well as AAPL coming into that closing print from yesterday, right at 220. Who's noticed Apple's been really interacting with 220 a lot lately? I have, whether it has support and resistance, both, Adara. Shout out to you. 220 today on AAPL comes into that VWAP 220 closing print. Finds a little bit of a sell. However, what's operative here is to look at the lows. The lows are still higher. So, yes, we are getting a bit of a VWAP rejection on the Mag 7. However, with respect to Apple, higher low, higher low, higher low. Does that pattern continue? We have higher highs as well in that time. So, good look there. We'll see what we get. What are we doing here on Gumma? Gumma, we got into the high 70s, but I'm too greedy for that. I wanted a little bit more. We got into 80. Excuse me, high 70s was wrong. We got into 80. I'd like a little bit more. We're going to wait at 75. That's the move there. So we'll look to cover the remaining amount at 77s because, well, that's a lucky number, so we'll see. So that's a look there. And AILE, we're still involved in this one with the beak wetter waiting also at 77s, but we're at 74s right now. And we've been having trouble with 74s, by the way. For the last little while. We broke it here, but basically for the last, 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, 74 has been a bit of a sell. We're at 74 right now, and you can see the size just not getting taken off there, whether you're on the NASDAQ book or whatever. EdgeX, BAT, the size is not coming off. In fact, it's increasing here at this level. So it looks like people looking to either wet their beak with profits or get short at 74s. And what's important to note here, just as the higher lows were important on Apple. Look at these lower highs on AILE with that flat bottom at 166. You know what that means? If we don't get that newer high through like a 180 break, we could easily see Adara
Nice.
flat bottom break, baby. We'll see. 166 is an important level for me here on AILE. I've added twice on it, and both times it's held. Let's see. Number one, can we take out 75s? All right, looks like we are stacking on the bid here, but the ask is not moving still, despite the fact. Oh, look at the size come in right at 174. I love watching tape with the small cap gappers. So it looked like we were going to break 74s there, and then the size came in fast and furious to block that ascent. So we'll have to pack our patience some more. Let's have a look at Gamma. Gamma right back into that low 90s, but I'm still biased in the same way that I was before. I'm looking for a VWAP rejection. We'll see what we get.
Yeah, I mean, what am I doing? Okay, so here's my issue with the Qs. Like I said, your read on a stock does not matter unless you're trading it appropriately with the timing right. But the 457 short, I tried it, did not get filled. That thing would have given you to VWAP. I tried the 456 short, really small position. I was willing to risk 50 cents because I had a tiny position. And again, it worked with my risk units. But it's like, Adara, why do you keep beating a dead horse? It does not matter if you're, and to be clear, my read on this was right. 3 of my 4 trades, the timing was wrong, the risk was wrong, whatever. The point is, where's the next trade? I just want to address that because I'm not proud of the trading there. And I think, you want to be honest here, right? You want to be really honest. Really happy with what I did with the Microsoft. Not so much with any of these other trades here. But that GME, that thing keeps curling. I like the Gummis still as well with those rejections of the 20 area. But IWM here, for my purposes, still interesting.
IWM?
We bounce. IWM. Yeah. I want to trade it on an IWM. Oh. We keep bouncing here in 205.80. Shout out to JKL 146 with the $2 super chat. NVIDIA was all a dream. Sing it in the Biggie tune. I tried my best there. Yeah, a little bit harder to sing that one just because of it was all a dream, the timing of that. But NVIDIA, yeah, I mean, it definitely is a dream if you're long. That 110 area, I was watching that breakout, did not take it. It probably ended up taking another questionable Qs trade. Or maybe Microsoft. Microsoft was fine. But I want to shout out Sean for his NVIDIA long there. Shout out.
Get it, Katina, man.
Great look. Awesome look there. Also, let's see. I don't think we have any. Do we have any 1 p.m. auctions? I'm going to check. I don't remember. Shout out to Miguel Lopez saying the market reversal was caused by the Treasury buyback announcement made at 11 a.m. EST. I was not aware of that. It's interesting too because we've had some kind of chop and churn moves in between there as well. Yeah, we do have a 1 p.m. auction. It's going to be the 10-year note. So I checked on that. We'll give you any notes on the 10-year year note in about an hour because it is 12 now. But one other stock I want to look at here for some pupils in the chat mentioning it, Oracle. Oracle is one we've neglected. At one point, it was one of the few positive stocks in the day. That thing did push lower, and I've noticed the way it's moving is a little bit opposite from what we're seeing in some of these moves here in the SPY, in all that. But what's interesting here too, we've got big chart move down, push up into VWAP, quoting, right? Try to push higher here. I think, based on what I saw in the book, the 156 seems to be a struggle. You can see that in the chart as well. 156 was a bit of an interesting area yesterday as well, bless you. So I think if we could reclaim 156, that could be a nice look. But we've got Microsoft and Tesla pushing higher. Microsoft here, finally trying to get above that 414. Happy, I used a 1 minute low bar break stop, so I'm happy that worked out. If Microsoft ever breaks 414, maybe I'll have you over to a party, but it looks like it's trying to break now. I don't want to rush into a trade for no reason on stuff I don't like. Unhappy with those Qs trades, but you got to keep finding different trades every day. How are you doing?
I'm okay, Adara. We're doing well.
I love that GME short.
Thank you, Adara. Yeah, so I want to talk about this one here, AILE. I got the print as it did finally break through that 74. Happy with this trade. I'm still holding a piece, and I think I'm going to add again at 166 should that come in. I also took a nice 30-penny winner, quick as you like, on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is rocketing up, guys. It's about to hit day's high right now. It's 30 pennies off the day's high. I saw this one go parabolic off that 10.5 consolidation. It's at 11 2/3 now, and like a few minutes later. So NVIDIA, very, very strong, very obvious V-shaped retracement coming into that area crest over here that we put in at the IB high. That is 1193 HOD. We did weasel into, I believe, 1170. So we still haven't hit that 1193. Be on the lookout. I'm not saying we're going to double top here, but just be on the lookout for it, okay? There was a floor manager here that I always remember what he used to say: participate, don't anticipate. That is his philosophy. You don't have to espouse that, but what I'm not doing is anticipating. I'm just thinking of the possibilities. That's the point I wanted to make here. So especially with the market being, in my opinion, range bound until after November. So we'll see what we get here, but put some respect on Nvidia's name, man. 3.25 near the highs, well outperforming the market. The NQ's down 0.5%. Nvidia wouldn't know that though, looking at NVDA. So great recovery there. You're not seeing an equitable distribution in the recovery with the Mag 7 names. You've got the likes of Amazon, Apple, Google, all below and Meta, all below or at the volume weighted average price. And you have like your outliers like Microsoft and Tesla that are working back into those highs. Tesla well above VWAP, looking to break through pivot points at 223. So we'll keep tabs on that. NVIDIA just keeps going, bro. So it looks like it wants to get it up into that level as well. The Future, not to be outdone by some of its components, it also wants to get into positive territory, and it's very close. Now we're about 0.01%, so we're basically flat on the day here with the NQ, recovering from the big boy dump that we had on the open there. Still below the IB high, though, which is at 18.925. So keep your eye out for this level. We are exactly at the level on the Future right now. So good recovery on the market, but that doesn't mean anything. And look at NVIDIA go, bro. Makes me look like I am the worst paper-handed trader ever. This thing is on the way up. Good look for NVIDIA. Here comes 112, man. This thing's going to break through that level. 112, where the players are dwelling today, it looks like. Let's see exactly where we're at. We are at a new high of day on NVIDIA. 112 is about to get breached. Look at the size, though, hanging out at the whole dollar level. That is lots, boys. That is not shares. So that is a lot of shares when converted from lots, and it just got taken out like it doesn't even matter. 112.06 now, HOD. It's helping propel the entire market forward. 18.9 could be a thing very soon right now on the NQ, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And I'm still in my AILE trade. GME back up into that 20 bucks. I've already de-risked on this, so I don't want to take it out. I want to see if it puts in a lower high, and right now it is putting in that lower high. If you want to look at the wick, we got into 2020. If you want to look at the closing prints, we're south of 2010. So we're at $20, which is fine, which is VWAP. I'm not going to take it out here. I want to pack my patience with this one. So those are the only trades I'm in right now, but I'm certainly now watching the Mag 7 and the Future, given the parabolic nature with which we've traded today. We dropped 400 points. Now we're back up 300 some odd points, almost 350 points. So we're moving. We're moving. There's a lot of intraday volatility, and that's what you want as a day trader, because without volatility, Adara, can we trade?
No, we can't. Without volatility, there's just sterility. And you want some excitement in the market.
Like
you know who's
that.
going to give you some more excitement? It's going to be your pal Neil. It's going to be his real deal and his lesson of the day.
Thank you, Adara, for that. And lesson of the day today brought to you by Moomoo. Rate cuts are on the horizon and the market is about to shift. Just look at NVIDIA, down 35% at one moment, then bouncing back the next, up 3% and change today, and basically ripping the faces off of some short sellers there. So to protect your gains, you need Moomoo's trailing stop orders. Partnered with the NASDAQ, Moomoo is your top investing app. Unlike typical stop orders, ours move up as your stock rises, locking in profits before a drop. And it works for options too. Plus enjoy zero commissions, zero contract fees, 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, and 15 free stocks. Don't miss out. Check the link in the description or scan the QR code below or right in front of you as it's on the screen there. And look, speaking about the volatility in the market and the need for stop orders, I mean, imagine a situation where you were sitting in the queues this morning long as we're ripping higher, and then you didn't have any way to get out or a plan of action to get out. This is what stop orders can do for you. And the lesson of the day today, because of the reversal that we had on the CPI number, I want to talk a little bit about when you get a number at 8:30 and what often ends up happening. Now, you're going to see like a couple of big volume candles. Ignore the dark pool X. I'm going to talk about the Qs first. So at 8:30, the reaction we had to our CPI print was an initial, obviously, drop in, and then you start holding the bid, and then it breaks it out. So a lot of times you see, don't overreact to the initial move, right? So don't overreact to the initial move to the downside. It catches a bit of a bid. This is where you want to be a little bit cautious and talking about trailing stops and all that good stuff. A lot of times when you make a reversal on a number, watch out about when it breaks that top. If initially they were selling it, and that was the sentiment, in the back of your mind, you want to be wary of any big reversal to the downside to reconfirm that. And a lot of times what will happen after the number is it'll run just enough into or at the open to get everybody into the reversal long. And at that moment, you've got to have some protection if you come back in to said downside. So what I mean, just enough to get everyone into the long, you can see it breaks the previous day's highs, but I want to slide to a higher time frame chart. When you look at where it was breaking out into, so you see the upper channel here, you reverse the move, you break out the top, and it's looking very strong. But when this happens, especially after a big data print at 8:30, you want to check back in on other prior resistance levels. Like, is it setting up a trap? You go all the way back. What's the last time we got to this price on the Qs and the futures? Go back to the 6th. It was an absolute dump off at this level. So this is exactly where it was trapping the longs, was right over above yesterday's tops and giving you enough of a consolidation and a press. The longs looked fantastic going into it, but then you check back to what happened the last time and you're going to get a dump zone. And this is exactly what happened. It was a reversal. You can see on a 15-minute chart, from the time that it wicks that high into prior resistance, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight red candles without stop. Obviously, you end up catching a bit eventually. But you've got to be careful after an economic number. They might just press it far enough to trap longs and trap them good, and then you get that nasty, nasty reversal. And the thing about it is you'll have longs that are buying the top. You'll have longs that are in the money, scrambling to hold on to some of the profits. It can be dangerous. But it provides you with an opportunity when you see this happen, because then you can start dividing stocks into different categories. You'll have things like, here, let's show you. You have things like ARM. Right? So in the same move, the reason why I've liked ARM and keep trying it up top here is the relative strength in it. So when you get that kind of a move, I ask myself, well, did ARM break back underneath? Nope. ARM held. When it dipped, it held the previous high. It didn't dump underneath that. It held. The previous resistance is holding its support. So I'm going to like this one to the long side. Let me just make sure I have my order out in front of 134 to get out. No, I'm going to like this to the long side because it's shown you relative strength. So that's one way you can find relative strength. When that dump is coming, maybe you missed it, but you're still looking bullish. Fine, fair enough. Look for stocks that are showing good, strong trend. When it trapped everybody long, if a stock didn't throw anybody out of the money, then it can still be good and it can still be tradable to that long side or favor that long side at least. That's an example with ARM. Another one's an obvious one, NVIDIA. It's not quite as clean as ARM, but it's the same principle, everybody. When we dip back in, it holds on to previous close, which is essentially yesterday's resistance. So it holds on to that line. That is a big deal. Now, everything's going to end up rallying if you get back to the top, but what are you going to pick and choose? Like, if everything's going to rally, ultimately that means, okay, all trades would have worked out that you took, if you took them long, to a certain extent. But which ones do you want to have in a general sense? The ones that are relatively strong. Because if it works, let's say this works, that reversal, you call it right, you get it 7 times out of 10. Well, it's the 3 times that you're wrong. Which stocks do you want to be in? And if we don't get this bounce, which ones do you want to be in? The ones that give you a clear area where you know you're wrong, or the ones that are just bleeding into the ether and you don't know where to get into that move? I look at something like a Meta. Okay, fine, sure, great. I have a support line on Meta down here at 485. And I suppose I could have picked that bottom and been like, hey, look at me, Meta, call the bottom right there. I had that from a couple weeks ago. Which stock would you rather be long? Would you rather be ARM, which held, broke out and then held highs? NVIDIA, which broke out and then held previous close? Or would you rather be catching a falling knife in the stock that trapped everybody just like the futures did and is continuing to trend to the downside? It's only now trying to get back to break even. And this is where, jumping into these different names and giving them different categories, strength, weakness, especially after a bit of a rinse like we just saw, is important. Because anybody trapped in the long, let's say they're swinging or let's just say they have a really long time horizon, they're still not good in meta. They're not in the money. If you got trapped long early, you're well out of the money on that, even as it comes back in. So you're going to find more resistance on the way up in a stock like this. So it's not about, and I get it, like you can stick with the long, and of course, as I say all of that, okay, fine, that looks great on meta. And I can point to, okay, well, why did I even like that support level? Well, it was a pretty key price area the last time it traded there. It is what it is. You could have called that long, and I could have a line there and say, I'm going to go long that trade. And it's more about what would you rather be in if you're wrong, because you know, look, the market's going to go up. It's going to drag these things with it. You know you're good if you're anything following the cues after that rinse. But once I see something like this, where that much of a trap has been laid in something downward trending, and like the NASDAQ has been, when that trap is set and you are trending down and it's clear that you're now trending back into the upside, you have a choice at that moment. The stocks that did not get trapped, that held above either previous closes or held above the breakout prices or everything else. And I know that I'm scanning for stocks that managed to hold it. And if they did, then that means to me they are strong and they're more worth the shot at it. As a matter of fact, we just hit 133.90 on ARM as it continues to go higher. So shout out to anybody that grabbed the long, but when there's a trap set like this at 8:30, you want to be careful which ones you put in there. Because if it's just like a fake rally that traps a lot of the long trades, at least if you're in the stronger stocks, you'll have a better opportunity to be able to adhere to your outs. You're going to have a little bit more upside, and you're going to have less pain when you are wrong. Well, I know it's easy to say go long, strong stocks and go short, weak ones. But in a case like this, that 8:30 breakout sets you up with some very key target levels to identify which ones you considered strong and weak and look for the long on this reversal. So, I always say be careful. When there's an 8:30 number, you've got an hour to calm down and sort of be able to read it. And a lot of times the exuberance can get the best of you because that's what the market makers are relying on. They're relying on everybody saying, hey, wow, that's a fake out. It's going to rip everybody's faces off. And they buy it up just enough to dump it. Maybe we're going to get back to the highs. But if you follow the plan of going in those long stocks that were strong, like ARM, like NVIDIA, you're already up and you don't have to worry about it. And that's a much better place to be going into the second half of the day. That's your lesson of the day, brought to you by Moo. Thank you guys, everybody, for all the great comments that we keep getting on this. And I said this because I was asked this in the morning. Do I always determine the lesson of the day, in the middle of the day? Generally speaking, yeah. Like I'll do the morning, we'll trade the morning, and then I figure out what I want to be the lesson based on what happened. But I do take requests. If there's something you guys want to talk about, or there's something you guys really, really want as a lesson, if I have an idea about it and I think I can do a good lesson on it, then I will. So you can always DM me on X or just throw open the chat and suggest something if you'd like it. And I can always do my best for it. But usually it's just what happened this morning and what did I learn from it. And hopefully you guys learn too.
Hotline Dropper, a.k.a. Neil Roberts. Thank you very much, Neil. That was one hell of a lesson there. I know Adira took a lot of it. I took a lot of it as well. Neil Roberts, every day around that noon hour. If you like Neilage, in other words, knowledge, make sure to join us every day around noon. Neil's lesson of the day. Thank you very much for that, Neil. All right, so while Neil was dropping said hotlines, some things happened in the market here. I'm still in GME, still short at 96s. I'm still interested in this name as a short. I got out the majority of the position already. We're still holding a beak wetter. I'm looking to add if it reascends into that 2010, knowing all full well that my stop is going to be quite close to my entry here. So we'll have to see what this one does. It's still bearish in my humble opinion, just by virtue of the fact that it is south of the volume weighted average price. The one that I'm done with now, AILE, that bottom broke at 166 and I got out of Dodge, and look what it's doing now. So that buyer at 166 was the operative move here because it kept holding up once, twice, OB thrice, and then on the fourth time it gave way. So when you know that there's a buyer there holding you up with lower highs, once that level goes, and that level was 66, I got the hell out of there, and I'm happy that I did because look what it's doing now. Doesn't mean that it can't set up again. We'll keep tabs on AILE. NVIDIA is rocketing up, guys. It just broke the high by quite a bit. We're about 50 pennies or so above that previous high that we put in at 945. So the rocket ship, aka the monster NVIDIA, 4% in the clear now, as apparently the Blackwells are not going to take that long to get. I guess he's bullying Taiwan Semiconductor into making more of his chips because he's taking all their capacity. No, I'm joking when I say that, obviously, but we all know that he is taking the majority of the capacity when it comes to GPU manufacturing from Taiwan Semi, hence why AMD can't get that many. All right, so that's a look. Still involved in GME short, looking at going again, or adding to this Adara, excuse me, at $20.09. How's your look?
I'm clearly because I was like, I'm done with the game, but then I was like, no, Adara, one more shot. I don't know why. You know, the thing is, if you like a look, I think you should take it no matter what the stock is, and that's why I took this Q short. But I have a feeling this is not going to go well. Really, really small position, risking 50 cents. I'm comfortable with that. A, it's the Qs. B, it's within my risk parameters. So whatever. Not to whatever this trade. I'm just like, you know what I mean? We'll have to see how this goes. If we keep bouncing off 20s, I'll get out here. I know I was willing to risk to 50s, but I'm also willing to trust my instincts. And with that in mind, we're going to get out here because look, we're popping higher. Basically, my issue was okay. So there we go. There we go. Okay, I'm cool with that. Basically, my thing, and there we go. You got to trust yourself. Did not like that push. I got out, and that was what I should have done earlier on these trades. And so that's why I'm trying to trust myself. I'm happy to be clear. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. And I have to remember that because if you're in a trade and you're realizing, hey, my stop is not the vibe, something's not the vibe, trust yourself. Something's got to give. You got to be real with yourself. So that's what happened. There should have gotten out at Scotia earlier than I did. I would have preferred to get out around 20s, which I didn't. But you know what's great about the market, Sharif? You have different opportunities.
Certainly
do things every day. Also, I tried a Microsoft long. Got long 415.25s, just into 415.20s. It broke. I got out. If we get above this area here in Microsoft, that 415.60, as I speak, we broke above it. So ignore what I was going to say. I was going to say if we can't have a nice push above that, I think it could be short. Microsoft's like, what are you talking about, Dara? I'll make you look like a liar while you're talking. Look what I can do. I said, okay, Microsoft, thank you. Appreciate it. Your comments are noted. Where's the next trade? Bless you. Also, bless Meta. Because this 504, look at that support, shunk, the downside, come back up. Big old middle finger topping tail candle here. I'm sorry, this is just what the pattern looks like to me. So if we can't hold back above that, also with this 504, I'm actually very comfortable with that. But we'll wait and see what happens. I want to make sure I can risk it appropriately, and I'm not sure I can at this level. So let's take a look-see. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, not the best day of my life, but in terms of trading, but that's the best thing is things can switch up as long as you commit to yourself, your plan, your style, and your trade. So that's what's going to happen with the Meta. Also, guys, any tickers, get into the chat, exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever ticker, let us know what you're looking at. We want to be able to help you with those stocks, with those tickers. Also, Meta pushes above 504 here, which is looking like it actually wants to do. I'll go long. I'm cool with that. But also, we will go long learning. Right,
do we have Mumu?
Oh, Neil did Mumu.
He did. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Neil. I appreciate that. Okay, just that saves me some energy. Love it. All right, let's have a look at some of these trades that we're involved in over here. Okay, the rocket. All right, so the trade that I'm involved in, re-short here on Gumma. I'm looking at wetting my beak, in the low 20s. We'll see if we can get that rejection. We got back into VWAP. I added at that level. We'll see what we get. If we get a top break, that's the end of the trade. If top break meaning that 2015 breach, that's going to be the end of the trade there. But I see lots of strength, and I know now we are at 18.9. Okay, so what do we do here, market? Let's go, mother market. Speak to me, baby. I want to know what we're doing. Do we breach 18.9, or are we gonna take out the IB high, or are we gonna reject off 18.9? Right now, it's a topping tail candle, but this is one 5-minute candle that hasn't really finished printing yet. But we are already 20 points lower and more, man. We breached 18.9. We've got up to 12s. Now we're down to 78s. Oh baby. This is on the way down, but guess what? If you like today's price market, if you like today's price action, in these hero markets, please like and subscribe. You do the channel a service, and I think we're giving you guys every day everything that we've got, bringing you the news, trading live in front of you. So if you think that's of value to you, we believe, you should be able to like and subscribe or, share it with your friends. So I hope you guys get benefit out of the show. And we're obviously on, in case you're just joining us, we're on every day from 8:30 to 4:30 covering these markets as best as we can. So thank you in advance for subscribing and liking. All right, we got a print again, Adara, on the GME short here, adding every time this comes into VWAP. Just wet my beak right now, holding a bit of a bigger position this time. I want to see if it drops below 20. So what I've been seeing here is incrementally higher lows. So I don't want to overstay my welcome if this thing wants to flat top break. And guess what? Right now, it looks like it might be an ascending wedge. High area trough, higher low, with all the while this 2010, 2015 area being that flat top. So if we get that flat top breakout, I want no smoke from the short. In fact, we'll flip long. So that's the look right now. It's coming back into 20. I'd like to wet my beak a little bit lower, maybe 1995, something like that. We'll see what we get in and around there, knowing that my beak wetter should account for the higher lows. So if I'm thinking, I'm going to get a 1975 print, well, we got to make a new low before that. So that 1980's got to get taken out. It didn't get taken out last time. So you need to account for the pattern when setting up your beak wetters. Not saying that it won't break 1980, but I'm just saying that the likelihood of it printing above 1980 a little bit better because the pattern is higher, the trend, is higher low. So that's a look there. Nothing much else to talk about except what Pretty Panda. Look, man, you called it Pretty Dang Panda. Look at PLCE. Goodness gracious, this did a great little hold of the volume weighted average price, putting in higher lows, and then you got that monster flat top break through 8.5. Sure, there were wicks through 8.5. Sure, but no closing prints took place above 8.5. That is, except, of course, until that 12 o'clock candle came in. I'm going to hit the desk so you don't get...
Thank you for warning me.
Sorry, because last time you got startled and I felt bad, Adara.
Thank you.
That 8.5 got breached right at 12 o'clock there. Now we're using $9 as support. We were just using $8. I love this stock. I don't have any trades on it, but it's trading really well. Shout out to Pretty Panda. I don't know if he's in the chat still and wants to take credit for this, but that was a good look by you, my man, and you stuck true to your guns. I knew you were long in the high sevens there, so that's quite a storm you printed on a $9 name. You just took like $1.50. That's it, of course, if you're still holding. So pack our patience and look there. We're still at 18.9. I need to, add a little bit to my trades right now. Can't be trading GME when the future, is at critical levels like this. So I'm going to pack my patience and look for some trades here on the said Mag 7, Adair.
I mean, speaking of Mag 7, I entered a new Mag 7 name. It's Tesla. You know why I like this? And honestly, shout out to Sharif. This is what I call an Adara Panera range. Look at this.
Dang.
So I'm going long here. I am risking 50 pennies. Again, I know that's a lot, but A, it's Tesla, and B, I have a really small position. It works with my risk units. We'll be adding here if we get above the top of that range, 222.75. If we can't, then I don't want that smoke anyway, so it's cool. We're risking into 221.80s. It looks like we will be out of this trade. Another loser. No, I'm joking. Guys, you got to stay positive. I'm just being a little self-deprecating right now, but that's, like I said, you can be red on the day, which I most certainly am, but you have to be green positivity. You have to be bullish positivity. If you believe in your ideas, if you believe in yourself, if you have ideas that you're willing to put risk on for, then you're set. That's what I'm really realizing. And I want to shout out, we always shout out Real Trading. They actually also bring us our audio. Oh, Sharif and I did it at the same time.
The bang.
We always, you can do the bang too if you want. Real Trading brings us our audience segment. So if you have any tickers you want to look at, let us know. But what I love about Real Trading is it doesn't just look like one thing. Real trading is, I said there was that day I had that Lululemon trade, and again, I want to keep waxing poetic about that. We had that 6.5 point move on Lulu, whatever, right? That's because we were stomping it, but that's also coming off of two of my worst week I've ever had. And we still ended up positive of the week with that. So what I'm trying to say is I think sometimes real trading looks like highs and lows. You got to take the highs with the lows. Shout out to Chance the Rapper with that. What I'm trying to say is I think what's cool about it is always going to be a journey. Not everyone's going to have the same journey. We can't, I can't put on bangers every single day like Sean, but what I can do is have this journey with you guys, and I feel very pleased as punch and blessed to be able to share that with all of you. Let's talk about ARM as Tesla. I don't want to say Tesla cooks. Tesla's like we're preheating the oven on Tesla. Tesla's not going to get really exciting to me until we get into the 220-270s, as I said. But ARM, wow.
It's a rocket, Adara.
Well, ARM is like doing rocket-style kicks with its legs here to the upside. That's a great look. I sound like Tony the Tiger, but I really like it. We have that gorgeous kind of push here into 11 a.m. and then ARM, bounce, bounce, bounce. That thing is like a trampoline. It cannot stop. Also, thank you, Glenn Smith, for telling me my Tesla trade range is the 50 EMA to the 200 EMA. I did not realize that, so thank you for letting me know. Even more confluence with some of those ranges. We'll see if that hits, but we'll find out. Also, apparently Mabu saying they're going live with real trading has been on TMS since January. Let's go. Shout out to you,
No
Mabu.
way.
I was in TMS for about the same amount of time as you were. I will say going live, it's not going to be like an easy transition. I think the best thing is to kind of, and I want to shout out Sharif for having this conversation with me. Like, you remember what style worked for you in the sim, and try to take that in the live. Because I think if you switch up your style drastically out of fear, out of whatever, if you start trading P&L, which I definitely was doing when I started live, then that's where you're going to run into issues. Trust yourself, trust your style. And I really do wish you a lot of luck with that transition. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
Thank you guys all for sharing this moment with us. I cannot believe it's already like 12:30 over here, Sharif. The midday is about halfway done exactly. Lots of time, though, to make some new trades, make some new memories. I'm being weirdly sentimental today for no particular reason. Just in a good move with these markets. Thank you, Neil, as well, saying, preach, traders usually going live, then putting capital into things that didn't get them live is the biggest issue usually. Yeah, thank you for letting me know, Neil. I remember after my first week, I was like, oh, well, I was like green like 4 out of 5 days. Yeah, taking like teeny tiny trades, risking like weird things, trading like SoFi and Ribbit, which again, no disrespect to those tickers, but it wasn't my style. So I didn't know what I was doing. I was just taking tickers I thought I could win on. What you have to do is you have to take tickers you think you can build a trading style and a playbook around. That's what I'm trying to do now. Best of luck to you, Mabu. Thank you to Neil, and thank you to Learning.
I have a question.
Please do.
I have a question,
Yeah.
Dara, since you've been trading for a hot minute now, and you've been with the show for over a year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You just celebrated your year
I
not that
did,
long ago. So we were calling Adara the range trader before. We had a nice name for her, the Adara Panera range. What kind of trader do you feel you're I don't want to say you're morphed, because like 1 year is not that long, relatively speaking. What are you morphing into, Adara?
You know, my thing is, I feel like I've talked a lot about trading the order book. I think I do a lot of that. So I'd like to say I do a lot of book reading and tape reading. That being said, I think the spready tickers, I feel like, shout out to Kyle Burdett, hashtag spread hunter. I've accidentally, put myself into that unfortunate position just by way of, not realizing things sound sometimes. But, I do read a lot of these spreads. I spread watching, as I called it. So I will say I like spready tickers that I can kind of get a read on. I like book reading. And I like trading tickers that are a little bit left to the wayside. I like trading tickers not everyone's going to day trade and putting my own spin on them. I don't know if that gives you an answer, but I think I'm trying to find a bit of a style. Like I said, developing a playbook. Part of that playbook includes adding to Tesla here. So let's go. If Tesla will fill me here at 69s, what's life without whimsy? Tesla's like, yeah, what whimsy, Adara? If we can get 75s, I'll be happy, but also be happy to learn about
Absolutely.
GAN lines.
Let's get right to it, baby. GAN lines.
I don't know how to say it, sorry.
Is what we're talking about today. So welcome, everyone. We're going to dive into one of the more fascinating aspects of technical analysis, GAN lines, developed by the noted influential 20th century trader W.D. Gahn. These lines are designed essentially to help us predict price movements using geometric angles. So we're not going to be looking at using lows and highs. We're going to be drawing angles. So if you've got a protractor near your desk, get it out, baby. You're going to need it. So while these GAN lines might seem more complex than at first, they do offer unique insights into trends and turning points, aka reversals. By the end of this lesson, we should try to understand how GAN lines are drawn, as well as how to apply them in real world trading. Gandorf, shout out, I think that's Fabian in the behind the chat there. Shout out to him. Understanding GAN lines, as we always do, we always start with a more basic approach. And in case you haven't ever encountered these, which I don't know if everybody has. So let's begin with what GAN lines are. GAN lines are trend lines drawn from significant highs and lows on a chart, but unlike your traditional trend lines, they are constructed at specific geometric angles. The most famous of these angles is the 45-degree angle. According to Gon, a 45-degree angle represents the perfect balance here between time and price, where for every unit of time, there is an equal unit of price movement. Don't you just love that? But why focus on geometric angles? What's the hook here that's getting him to look at angles as opposed to highs and lows? Gon believed the markets were governed by natural laws, including geometry, and that price movements followed predictable paths that can be plotted at specific angles. Now, Gon didn't just stop at that 45-degree angle that he really likes. He introduced additional lines. We're not going to cover all of them here. You can Google exactly what angles he talks about. But for our purposes, we're going to talk about 67.75 and 75, which indicates a stronger uptrend, and these flatter angles like the 26.25 and 15, which suggest to you a weaker, more gradual trend. Each of these lines serves as a form of dynamic support and resistance as price moves across them. For example, in a rising market, the price might find support at 45 degrees, but if it breaks that next level of support, it could find its way all the way to 63.75. So keep that in mind. So this is kind of how it looks like. As we mentioned, you're drawing these geometric lines from area highs and area lows. In this case, obviously, we're looking at a bit of a downtrend, so we're drawing it from the area high, and we draw it all the way down, as far as the chart will let us draw it. Here, it breaches the bottom. Okay, and it just happens to intersect multiple areas of resistance over here, again over here. Does it act as support? Not really, but there's other line here that we'll talk about. So with respect to resistance, 45-degree angle or line was the operative one here. With respect to support, the 67.5 acted as support multiple times. So this is kind of how we draw it, and it kind of looks like a fan. Almost. So some of the fan lines that we talked about yesterday, those were drawn based upon specific retracements off highs and lows. This is just based on geometry. So there's also Fibonacci fan lines. I don't know, we didn't talk about them here. Maybe we'll do a lesson on them, but they're very similar to Gon lines or Gann lines. So some of you may be already familiar with these Fibonacci fan lines, which are often compared with these Gann lines. Let's talk briefly about how they differ and how they overlap. Firstly, both Gann lines or whatever and Fib fans are used to identify potential areas of support and resistance. However, Fibonacci fans are based on key Fibonacci ratios like 38.2, 62.8. We know all the ratios. We've talked about them before. While Gann lines are focused primarily on geometry, specific angle of price movements. Here's where it gets interesting, though. So Gann lines are meant to be used at precise angles, completely independent of the market conditions. However, Fibonacci fans, on the other hand, are based on retracement percentages from previous moves. So by virtue of the fact that they take into consideration price action, they are not independent of the market. They take into account market conditions, which may make them better in certain instances and not so good in some others. In both cases, though, when price breaks one of these lines, it often continues to the next line, offering new levels of potential support and resistance. So that's kind of how they're similar and how they differ. And here's a look at how these Gann lines and Fibonacci's look. And we'll talk about, using both of them together to add extra layers of support and resistance. So we'll talk about that in a second, but this is what I want to show you. This is what you do with fibs. You take the area crest or area trough, you draw the fib from the high to the low. In the intervening area, you're going to have percentage retracements. So that is where you're going to draw your fan lines through using the fib fans move. You're going to draw have your retracement percentages, and then draw fan lines from the high or the low intersecting with the percentage retracements. Gann lines obviously don't care about highs and lows, or don't care, about the price. They just care about highs and lows, and then you're drawing your angle using geometry. Let's talk about some of the practical applications that we can use Gann lines for intraday trading or even swing trading. The first and foremost is identifying key areas of both support and resistance. So in an uptrend, for example, if you draw Gann lines from the lows to the highs at the specified angles like 45 degrees, 63.75, and so on, these lines act as guides for where price might find support if it starts retracing. For example, if the price, begins falling and breaks that first 45-degree line, this suggests a deeper correction, potentially getting into 63.75, which we saw in the previous image. It's not the only thing we can use. We can use it also to predict market turning points. So by analyzing where the price interacts with GAN lines, you can predict reversals. So if a price falls, for example, below the GAN line, but fails to break the lower GAN line, like if it breaks 45 but finds support off 63.75, this may signal to you the end of the downtrend and a resumption of the uptrend. So be on the lookout for areas of support below what you anticipate. If you were looking for 45 and you got it at 63.75, look for a breach of that high and a continuation of the uptrend. Another way we can use GAN lines is dynamic trend lines for different time frames. So if you're like me and you swing trade and day trade, you're often looking at multiple time frames. I look at the weekly, I look at the daily, I look at the monthly, but I also look at the minute when I'm day trading. And that's one of the great features of these GAN lines is their adaptability across multiple time frames. They are fractal in nature. Whether you're looking at daily, weekly, or the minute, GAN lines can be applied. Their geometric nature means they adjust according to the scale of your chart, providing you a consistent framework for trend analysis. So that's a good look there. And last but not least, the other practical application for GAN lines is to combine them with other technicals. I'm going to suggest you combine them with moving averages, but the best look is to combine them with fibs. Let's talk about this. If Fibonacci levels coincide with a GAN line, the chances of the level holding up as support or even resistance increase. So if you're getting that confluence between GAN lines, between fibs, and even better, if you're getting it through moving averages or anything else, add that other check mark to your list of things that you're seeing that are supporting your case. And then at the end of the list, compile it. Is the balance of the evidence enough or is it insufficient?
Yeah.
Get it, Adara. Let's talk about some criticisms and controversies. Nothing is foolproof, and certainly GAN lines are not. So while GAN lines have their enthusiasts, they certainly have people who are not sold on them. The first case that people make against GAN lines is which line is going to work. So one challenge with GAN lines is the uncertainty around which lines will hold as either support or resistance. With 9 different GAN lines potentially in play, it's not always clear which ones have the most impact, right? There's 9.
Gee, I wonder why that could be an issue.
That's only 9, Adara.
I was going to say, like, come on now.
Right?
It's a lot.
PLC is going, guys, $10 high a day. Criticisms of the geometric trend lines themselves, using geometry as opposed to highs and lows to base your trend lines, another idea. So some chartists argue the idea of these geometric trend lines is just too rigid. Market conditions are often more chaotic and simple geometric patterns just simply won't work, making GAN lines unreliable in every market context. And there's obviously the lack of predictive certainty, right? Even if one of the lines holds, right, there's no way to predict which one until after the price retraces to it. So this, it's more reactive than as opposed to predictive, but that's okay because we have, indicators that are lagging indicators and some that are leading indicators. So that's okay. It doesn't have to be a leading indicator. It's all right if it's a lagging one, as long as we know it and we use it with that in mind, Adair.
Yeah, I want to shout out that awesome lesson. Thank you so much, Sharif, there for that. 9 lines gives you a lot of options. I mean, some cats have 9 lives. Some gons have 9 lines. It's all good there. Meow, is that Fabian? Shout out. Shout out to that. Also, Palantir. I know, it's like Adara, how many stocks can one girl look at it one day? Too many, but no, I want to talk about PLTR because I have lines on this. I initially was like, like I said, I was talking to Obi this morning, running into him in the kitchen, and I was like, I still like some of this range on Palantir, but if there's other things in play, I don't want to necessarily be relying on Palantir. But I still have it on my side chart. Now, this could bull flag. That's very valid, but we are down on the day. One of the generally the things on a bull flag is that you need to be up on the day. That being said, the formulation's there. The thing I see, though, is 440s, which, by the way, Sharif, multi-day level of support there and resistance and interaction. If we break below that level, I would expect us to bleed. And in that case, oh my gosh, I want to be licking the wounds of PLTR. Was that a bit of a violent analogy? Perhaps. Your face said you did not enjoy it, which I appreciate your facial honesty there. No, if we break into 41s there, I'm going short. I'm risking to 51s at the top of this kind of consolidation, and I'm going to be taking it with a bit of size. I really want this smoke here. I don't know if I'll get the smoke. We'll see if this is going to be a smoke-free establishment, but I like that look. Also, I cut up Tesla. I don't know how else to put it other than I took little, Apple below 221 is also a great look here. Let's take a look here at TSLA. Okay, so Tesla. So I thought we were breaking out of the range. Okay, I had the long. This chart is really messy. I had the long here. I thought we were breaking out of the range. First long, to be clear, risked all of these fine. I'm just a little bit chopped up. We're clearly ranging. I should have played it as a range instead of wanting a breakout or breakdown, which is how I played it in either direction. I still think we could break up, but in that case, I should have played it as a range. A little disappointed in myself, especially Tesla pointed at myself, if you will, because I initially was like, oh, I think this is a range. It's like, then why are you not playing it as a range, Adara? Come on now. Learning, growing. That being said, I don't know what to call this on Apple other than bearish engulfing. We'll see if it closes like that. I would like to see how we interact with 220.70, and as I say that, we push lower. If we break below that, okay, I mean, Palantir, I'm going short right now. I don't know if it'll fill me. I'm trying to get 39s here. We'll see if we get 39s. I'll risk it into to 50s, and we'll see what we can get there. You get what you get. You don't get upset. I might be upset if I don't get that fill. Not happy with how I used some of this risk. It was a little bit, oh my gosh, I accidentally tried to buy Palantir there, which is not what I wanted. Good thing we got to cancel that. Let's see if we can get filled here on the short. We're going to get filled 39s. We're going to risk it into 49s. I think that's very realistic, or heuristic, if you will. Like realistic risk. Areas I like on this are going to be 25s. 11 is a huge level for me on Palantir. What I would be likely to do, or what I am going to do, because we're in this trade now, we're going to add, if we get to that 25, 21-ish level, that was certainly a level of interest. If it interacts, if there's like a nice floosh there. If not, I don't need to. But my big level for PLTR has been, remains, as of right now, that area just above 34.10s. Look at that interaction today. You can see it. Now, my biggest issue today, it's just been trying too many ideas and too many names, not getting the timing right. You miss the move, you miss the move. Don't try to get a retest or whatever, right? That's what got me on the cues. You would have the level right and the idea right and just have the timing completely wrong or the risk wrong or whatever. Whatever happens there, you just got to be open to that and recognize when you're wrong. As Neil says, it's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. My read on the market last 2 days has not been great. Now, like I said, a little bit disheartening. I had a 4-day green streak, was doing well, but you know what? That's what the markets do. They shake you up. They remind you, hey, I don't care how you feel. I care about what I'm doing and what I would like to do or continue doing. So that's all good. I'm willing to move with that. We have 15 whole minutes until we have the auction. We'll get that. It'll be 10-year. Yeah, Jorge, I am playing this short again. We'll see. I haven't played this yet today. Maybe this level is just going to, chop up. Maybe it's not going to work, but that's a maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I know I believe in this level. I know I find this level interesting. I know that this was a pretty big area of support resistance. And you know what? Maybe it will support again. I have no idea. But like I said, I've noticed in general, when you've got flips like that, support, resistance, back to support, or resistance, support, back to resistance, in this case, it's the latter. Usually, it will kind of flip in that way. So I don't know if it will, but let's see how we flip. Microsoft, also interesting here too with that 416s. Man, did I continue to fumble the ball on Microsoft, though I did. It's definitely my most positive name. Like I said, I'm trying to avoid looking at P&L other than for the purpose of how much can I risk here. But we'll see what happens here in PLTR. Risking this into 49s. I would love to see this do something for me if we break lower, but it doesn't matter what I want. It doesn't matter what I hope for. It matters what the market gives me. It matters I stick to my plan. How you doing?
I'm good, Adair. I'm looking at PLCE. What a rocket ship this has. I put some disrespect on this one's name, Fabian, earlier, and the reason was the range per candle was just, it was unwelcoming. You know what I mean? You had to really factor the range per candle into your stops because every other candle I felt like was a topping tail or a bottoming tail or an inverse hammer or a hammer. So, the bamboozlement was fast and dang furious on this one. And then came 12 o'clock, 5 to 12, I should say. We got that big boy break through the $0.50, and that was really the deciding factor on the day. Now we're down to the 10 exponential. And this one's done a good job of respecting the 10 exponential, but I'd like to get my beak wet here for an entry at 9. Now, may not give you that level, so we'll see exactly if it weasels up back above 9.5. I could also be persuaded to get into this if it does a rounded bottom off that, or a V-shaped retracement off that 10 exponential on the 5, 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. And so I want to see here. It has been very strong. Let me give you the deets on this one. I gave you the deets, but why is this moving? So this company is called, by the way, Children's Place.
It's a children's clothing company. I went there as a kid.
Perfect.
Not
What's
bad.
the reason, though, that it's moving? Did it have earnings?
Q2 earnings.
Got it. Yeah, that's what it is. Play stock after Q2 earnings. So that's a good look. I mean, it's a big boy mover on the day. It's a $120 million market cap now that it's pumped up here. So we'll pack our patience to see if this one, number one, wants to hold the 10 exponential on the 5 on a closing basis. If it doesn't, is going to come into that $9 area and possibly defend that area. That's the other question that I have. But, you know, looking here, right now, we're still holding above the 10, so I don't want to, I just allow this to manifest, and we'll see what we get there. NVIDIA finding a bit of resistance at 113. The Catena man came back, and he was like, what is going on? NVIDIA is at 113. I was like, yeah, man, you were gone for a minute. He's printing up there, so shout out to him. But Catena, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if we break down below 112. There seemed to be some interaction there at 112, holding up as a resistance. I wonder if we use 112 now as support. Only time will tell. Keeping my eye on NVIDIA. It's obviously it's reignited itself as the monster because it's moving up big today. 3 1/3 was up more at the highs. What's up? The Catena man just let me know that the future is getting a bit of a rejection now off 19,000 or 19, sorry. Yeah, well, 18, wow, 18,940, yeah. So almost, yeah, that double top that we were looking at today on the future. I mean, we broke the IB high. Shout out to Dan, the dang man. I haven't seen him in the chat today. 18,940, now we're below 18,9. Get it, Adara. And then now we're back at the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. We also have yesterday's closing print with which to use as support on the future. That comes at 18,863, so 18,2 1/3. So we'll see. Number one, is this just a momentary retracement, a 2-3 candle retracement here on the future? Or is this going to be a bigger retracement where we double top and possibly come back off those levels? So time will tell. We'll keep tabs on it, but Adara's got something to tell us.
I do, and it's about trade the pool. Becoming a funded trader means trading with the firm's money instead of your own. At Trade the Pool, you first complete an evaluation by hitting profit targets while managing risk. Once you pass, you get access to up to $260,000 in buying power. You keep up to 80% of the risks. You keep up to 80% of your profits, well, the firm covers the risk. It's the perfect way to trade big without risking your own funds. Ready to become a funded trader? Join Trade the Pool. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. See a shout out there to Trade the Pool. Thank you very much. That's the pool we want to swim in with all of you guys. Also, we want to swim in that pool. Fun fact, you know those swimming lessons you do as a kid? I actually got put down 2 levels. And I talked to my friend later who actually was a swimming instructor for the city, and she said that's not allowed. But anyways, I think of that whenever I think about swimming.
Are you a good swimmer?
I am. You would not believe that from that story. I just couldn't hear them. So they splashed water at me in the pool.
Usually taller people are good swimmers.
Right? Yeah, it was just because like the classes were loud. But anyways, Palantir, pretty loud here. It's still rejecting. We're still making lower highs. I said I'll risk it into 49s, but honestly, depending on what kind of interaction I see in the book here at 34.45s, I will be getting out early, and that's just because, like I said, you got to trust yourself. That topping tail candle to 45s earlier, dope look. Will we get one again? We shall see what we shall see, but we will also shall see, pretend that was English, about this super chat. Thank you very much to Ian Respeto.
I love it. Thank you for that segue, Derek. $9.99 super chat from one of the OGs in the chat. Ian Respeto been in there for a hot minute. What are your thoughts on Micron, MU? It's really been best down. I think he means beat down. It's really been beat down and doesn't seem to get going, but most analysts have it at $140 to $200 price range, thinking of it as a long hold. Thanks. Look, man, DRAM, and especially for some of the, what they're doing is they're putting these GPU packages together. Like, you're not just getting the graphic processing unit, you're getting it in a package which includes, I don't know, I guess motherboards, DRAM, etc., all the stuff that you would get. These are new type of computers. So I think that they're definitely needed. Now, this high bandwidth memory, obviously, sorry, I said DRAM, but I meant high bandwidth memory. Kind of hard to know. Is there any other players in the game? The one that I keep hearing about the most is Micron. Tough to know. Let's have a look at the technicals. I can't give you a fundamental, an assessment here because I just don't know enough about that particular part of the industry. I'm sorry, but let's look at the daily. Where could we find some support on the daily? Yeah, that's a big boy retracement. Wow. Okay, so this is very interesting here on the daily. This $85 level. So that's a double bottom at 85. If this holds, 85 is interesting. It was also a level of resistance prior, not for that long, back in December. Look, hard to know, man. You know, the thing is, the market was just so strong on this name that did we overshoot? That's the question. Hard to know, Ian, man. That's one of the tougher ones. I can't answer it from a fundamentals perspective, but that $85 looks interesting. If it holds that could be a nice recovery. We're on the daily though, we're below the 10, the 20, the 200, the 50, everything. We're below everything right now, sadly. What does the weekly look like? The weekly, we're below the 50, but we're above the 200. Okay, so that's interesting. So I said 85 was interesting, but 75 could be equally or around 75 because that's a 200 exponential on the weekly. It also looks like a skewed head and shoulders, which kind of makes me worried that 85 gives way. Like the left shoulder a little bit higher than the right shoulder with a bulbous head there. Do we get that same look on the daily? It's a bit protracted. It's a bit expanded, I should say. Hard to tell, man. That's a tough one to look at. I usually don't have trouble analyzing these charts all that much, but yeah. 85, if 85 holds, I like it. Then I'm looking at the 200 exponential. If it breaches the 200 exponential, I don't want anything to do with this until it resets. So I hope you print up a storm and let me know how it goes. All right, here we go on Gimme Stop again. Yes, long this time. Short every other time, just took nicely. What did we take there? We took 11 pennies. Woo! No, yeah, we took 11 pennies on GME. So happy with this one as it reaches 20 again. I'll continue to rage trade GME all dang day if I have to. And it's been a love affair today between GameStop and the volume weighted average price. Reason I got in here because we double bottomed there at 76. And I had 85, so I didn't even have a good price. But this double bottom and a hold up at that $0.75 level had me interested, especially if we get back into VWAP over here, which was my goal. Let's now watch what we do at 20 and this 20-ish area, because I've been shorting up a storm since then on GME. And if it holds there, I'll short it again. I don't care. So yeah, GME in focus here, Adair.
I'm happy to hear you are qualmless about your GME short.
Yes, that's what I should have said.
It's okay. No, I mean, I'm done. So Palantir, I did what I said. I got out because I was like, as we pushed into, like, if I said if I don't see what I like in the book, at 34.45, get out. I didn't. I did. I mean, I didn't see anything. I saw stuff I didn't like, so I got out. That's what I meant to say. Palantir, not a play for me. Like I said, I'm not happy with the trading today. We don't have, we're going to be very, very frugal here with our risk in terms of what we want to get involved in. I have 2 names on watch. I have 2 plays on watch. That is it. That is all. Yes, sir, Bob. One of them is Palantir, and it's a long here at 34.45s. But I think it's still kind of get a sense of direction. I think if we blow the top off there of Palantir, I think it's a great look. I think we can at least have 75s. I'd be taking it with small size. I'd be adding at 50s, and I'd have to risk break even. Although for my first entry, I'd be risking 5 cents. As we continue to get a nice little hold in the book here, we're actually going to try to get long here. Pretty small position, again, risking 5 cents. The other look I like on this here market is Tesla. But Tesla kind of just gave up what I wanted, which was that range of 222.30 to 222.70 that I played kind of atrociously up until this point. Not to be hard on myself, facts are facts. But this 222, I don't want to short 222. One of these shorts actually took profit at 222, so I think that is a level. But I think the clear level for me for TSLA is, can we get below 221.90s? If we can, that's a better short to me, and you risk it into 222s. Also, I got short Palantir, or got long Palantir, and then immediately sold off, so we had to get out there. Yeah, this has not been my day, to put it mildly. But you know what? Again, that's you got to figure out what works for you. Bang. Today was not the vibe, and I think a lot of that was just putting a lot of eggs into the Qs basket, which again, I stand by not trading. Like I didn't want to trade the TQs. I said that was my whole impetus. But it's like just because you don't want to trade the TQs means that you need to take every attempt here at the Qs, right? So it is what it is. It's all good there, baby. Palantir, if a short sets up, I'll take it again, whatever, it's fine. But yeah, it's got it. These are the days where you do reflecting and you're like, what is life? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me, come on. But I guess I'd sing that to the markets. But yeah, there we go. What else is occurring here that I want to look at? We have the auction in 2 minutes.
Okay.
It is the 1 year note auction. I like what Sean's saying here. Most fail, just try and improve. Yeah, I'm trying every single, and again, that is why I appreciate that. That's why I stopped looking at P&L, because my thing is too, is it's like, that to me, that I don't want that to measure my growth. And I think, someday, obviously, like that's the whole goal trading, you want to make money. I fully agree with that, I respect that. But for right now, I need to focus on my processes and my learning. And I think there has been, and honestly, I wrote this down in my notes, I think the moving of the stop, and I think I said this earlier today as well, moving my stops a little bit P&L-ish as well. Like, you can go for break even. That's fine. That's whatever, right? Like, you don't need to move things up for whatever purpose.
Can I ask you a couple of things? I've heard you say a couple of things that I haven't heard you say in this week. Number one, you've been talking about risk units. I haven't heard you talk about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on that a little bit.
That's number one. Number two, you've been talking about previous candle lows or highs as area stops. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, so basically with regards to risk units, I'm thinking of it in terms of, I think I mentioned it last week as well. I think that's when I started using it. But it's like percentage, basically X percentage, so minimum 10% of your risk to each trade. Because if you're not willing to spend minimum 10% of your risk in a trade, then, like, I've just been doing a lot of reading and talking and stuff, then why are you doing it, right? Yeah. So that's why I think that's the thing. I still need to get more comfortable, and I've said this a lot with my order keys and such as well, and I think that's part of my issues. I'm just not able to set things how I want to with regards to my entries and exits. But yeah, and so then with regards to stops, using prior bar low and highs on the 1 minute or the 3 minute, depending on kind of how the ticker is moving, that I need to figure out as kind of a method as my stop. Fair. And I said one of my biggest issues here is with regards to my stop. Now, I have no problem, like, risking whatever. I like using the risk units. I think it is a good way of doing it in terms of, like, how much am I willing, like, if I'm not willing to risk 10%, why am I trading it? But then it's like some trades, you just got to trust yourself on and your read on the book as well. And again, this first Q long, I saw that 450, which was my Can we show the chart? My area of entry. You can't really see it anyway with all the entries, but I appreciate that though. I got it kind of messy. But the point is, I saw that we were kind of rejecting there. I should have gotten out there and I didn't. And that to me is an L. At that point, you're not getting out because you're scared of, like, whatever, losing on the trade. You're getting out because you need to trust what you see. I feel like this is word salad at this point, so I do apologize for serving you that Caesar salad. But that's honestly my journey, and I like that I appreciate having the opportunity to talk about that every day. Also, guys, auction, we're going to wait for that re-auction, the reaction to the auction. We shall find out, but we'll tell you here about that in a moment. And yeah, like, that's what I respect too about, shout out to Real Trading. Everyone's gonna have their own style of trading, and I think that's what makes it real. You figure out what's real to you, what makes sense to you, how you want to trade, what you're comfortable with, and I'm trying to do that every single day. And I want to shout out this whole community: Sean, Neil, Sharif, Obi, Brendan, everybody that you don't see and everybody you do see, because, like, that's how you learn. And again, stop giving Oscar speeches. Yeah, so I'm short on him, and now let's see if it holds. So I want to mention something as well. So there's two traders. I've been here since May of 2022, okay? There's two traders still left on the floor that were here before me, Max and Brenkels. And the reason I say that is to build on the Katina Man's point that most people are going to fail and they're going to move on to something else. And that's kind of the nature of the beast. So you gotta have that in mind before you get involved. And then sometimes you get in as one type of trader and you find you're a completely different type of trader that's suited more to your personality, your own specific disposition, right? So that's the look there. All right, so I'm short here on GME. It's the same deal. It's gonna have to hold the same level. I like this area here, and I'm short at 20.09. Look, we get a top break there at 16. It's the end of the trade. So it hasn't been able to break that 16 penny well since 11:40 this morning. It is 1:02 p.m. right now. What's going on over there, Katina Man? The Katina Man just took some more out of NVIDIA right now, so shout out to him. He's printing up storms over there on that side of the desk. It's moving right back into that. Man, I knew 112 was going to hold. 112.50, right back into the whole, hopefully 112.88. We're going to shut him out and hope he prints up multiple storms on that side of the desk. So we're going to put in the stop now for GME. Hopefully we won't take an L on this one. So we got the auction there.
Go for it.
Thank you, people. Yeah, we mentioned that one ahead, but we were just waiting for the number there. So thank you to Day Trader Cut for letting us know. Yeah, I did have it watched there. Shout out to Bears versus Bulls for keeping us covered there. 3.648% versus the previous year of 3.9. 6%. I'm not seeing much of a reaction here or a reaction to the auction. Continuing to kind of push higher off support for some of these levels. Tesla particularly pushing off your NVIDIA, as Strafe mentioned. Sorry, I'll let you continue there.
Yeah, no worries. I just got stopped out of GameStop there, but I don't think this is the end of the matter. I'm going to pack my patience. Just because I have shorts doesn't mean I have to use them. Let's see. If it wants to take VWAP, we'll let it take VWAP. I don't care. We'll take it north as well. I'll take it south. I'll take it north. I'll take it whichever way it goes. But obviously, my idea about getting in at VWAP and setting up there, it goes into the $0.25. So let's see if it continues here. So I'm happy that I got out and didn't DCA into this. So we'll watch right now. If GME wants to take VWAP as a long, we're going to take GME long. Beautiful double bottom on the 5 at 19 3/4. Now we're talking about 20 1/4, Katina Man. And now we're moving into 20 1/3. Boom goes Game Stonk. Let's see how this one can. It's recovering a little bit. I mean, we're not booming, but we're moving. So let's see if it's a quick specialist breakout. And then we push right back down to get everybody out and bamboozle the entire market. We're going to pack our patience and see. Took the first hit today, right now, for, well, that's only 8 penny loser. That's not too bad. On this one, we'll keep tabs on it. If it wants to set up as a short again, we'll take it short. But if it's going to go long, we're going to keep an eye on that. I also want to tell you about CNEY. This one was halted. Let's flip to the one here so I can show you the halt. For whatever reason, found its footing at around 90 pennies, although it did breach it momentarily here. Then you really couldn't print anything below that 92, and certainly couldn't print anything below 90, and it just rocketed up into 113, halted at that $1.13. Now we popped up into 117, trading above the halt level. So the halt level acting as support right now, which is a $1.12, a $1.13. And that's something I've talked about in the past, using these halt levels as areas of support and resistance. It's not always, a perfect system, but sometimes they do feature. So it's good to be alert about those levels before you're going to weasel into this trade. So right now it's trying to hold that halt level. It's not moving all that much. Started out its life at like 60 or some odd pennies today. Not really sure where this one was in the morning, but right now it is a $1 stock. It's had this dance with $1 multiple times today, a little bit above, a little bit below. We'll see how this one wants to end up trading, but yeah, this one's not my cup of tea. I'm going to tell you that. So I'm going to leave this one be, and if it ends up being the big winner, then we missed something here. So CNEY just halted midday. Put some respect on this one's name. 285 some odd percent there, and it's continuing to go. GameStop, back to GameStop, topping tail into 2 1/3. And I don't want to call it a topping tail just yet because this 5-minute candle hasn't closed. So I want to see exactly, if we make another high above that 20 1/3, this looks like a long. So it'll be a 2-candle pattern through VWAP. We'll see. Perhaps into 21. The high of the day, I should mention, on GameStop is 21.09. So, about 80 pennies from where we're trading at right now. We'll pack our patience and keep an eye on that. There was also PLCE. Shout out to Pretty Dang Panda. He killed it on this one. This is still holding the 10 exponential on the 5. So as we refresh over here, the 20 exponential is at the 9. I was concerned it kind of looked head and shoulders-y. That's just my paranoia. Don't let me skew your analysis there, but the respect, you have to give it respect at this level because it's holding the 10 exponential. And it hasn't been able to breach that yet. So keeping an eye here. It does seem to be a lot of resistance, though, at that 9.5. And that's not something new. We rejected off 9.5 here, and then we finally broke it, although very momentarily, 2-candle, and then we were right back down below 9.5. So 9.5 here featuring as a level of resistance, even though it was breached there for a short while. So PLC, let's flip back to some of the... This market's recovering, Adara.
I know, right?
Good look, good look. Okay, I'm happy because obviously, the long term is good when the market is up, Adara, but we can trade whichever way on the show. But yeah, 18.9 is no longer a thing because we're at 18.965. Now we're talking about 19th out. So we'll see if we're able to weasel up into 19th out. Get it, Katina Man. The Katina Man is long Amazon 179. 179. The Katina Man's long Amazon 179. It's 110 on NVIDIA. The Katina Man is long. 110 on NVIDIA. It's a $3 winner. He just wet his beak on Amazon, and good area, Katina Man, because that $0.50 is the closing print from yesterday. Shout out to him. He just wet his beak there at the $0.50 on AMZN. Apple's moving up. Meta's moving up. Softy's coming into day's highs. The Google, the dead one. Google's now the dead one, Adara, because it's been kind of, doing its thing. Is also up as well into 150. Tesla as well, and obviously NVIDIA has been the monster on the day. It behooves us now to get into some of these dang longs on the future. I haven't been trading the future, so let's get that set up. What are you looking at there, Adara?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to be honest here. Just got shut down, and in true Adara of this week fashion, the right idea, risk not enough. And this is what happened. So to be clear, I came into this TSLA. Okay, also before we do this, I really want to read this super chat from JKL 146. I feel this. I feel this right now in my soul. Thank you so much for the super chat, JKL 146, $5 super chat. Happy I found you guys. Trading is a lonely game. You guys make my day better. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you so much for the kind words. And honestly, like I said, that's why I'm always just very grateful to be here, because I've only ever traded in front of this, so I don't understand that loneliness. So I'm very, I know I'm in a very lucky position to be there, where I've always had this community. So I really want to shout you out. Thank you so much for the kind words. And we're happy to be able to be here for people in whatever way, because it's just such a great community. Anyway, so this Tesla. So getting into this, basically knowing it's going to be my last trade. Took pretty small size in it, whatever. I was like, let's see what we do at 80s. I got long 223 because that was a level I did like earlier. We had that area. I saw we couldn't break it into it earlier. I was like, bro, dope. We break above it. Trade it. Took the long. We get into it. We wick below 80s because I was kind of using that as a support area. We're holding up pretty well. We wick below it. I get out. And then we just bounce. Like, we honestly just bounce. And I was like, okay, cool, Tesla. We get as high as almost 224s. And then we come right back down. So did not end up working out here. I got to say, I think the issue here, the mental was not right. And I'm really, not proud of that. I think I was just kind of in a little bit of like a meh place because I was like, oh, like whatever. Yesterday, but I mean, where's the next trade, right? Where's the new day? I'm very ready to come tell these markets, show these markets what's up tomorrow. I want to talk as well to Vicky on Novak. Thank you very much for saying, please take a look at Miss Lily. I have not looked at Miss Lily today. She's doing volume though. Wow. Yeah, this is gorgeous. Look on Lily. Shout out to you, Vicky on Novak. So 895 has been pretty big support on Lily. I think we might have broken below that at one point on the daily chart. But RIP my chart, so I'm gonna pull that up here for that. I'm probably gonna switch to the sim because I want to do some more trading if things switch up or set up. But in the meantime, I'm gonna look at some tickers for you guys if that's cool here. So let's take a look at Miss Lily because I was gonna analyze her before the chart had a nap. So Lily, New York, day. Okay, let's see what's going on here on the Lily daily chart. 895. That's kind of an interesting level for Lily. After on its earnings, that was one level because I was watching that for a few days after earnings, seeing some of the interactions there. Also, guys, is there any stickers you want to look at? Let us know in the chat that Neil and Sean can look at > join space $ ticker. But as you can see here, there's tons of support on this is what I was looking to kind of show you guys after all that chart drama. Look at the way that we have been holding 900 as support on Lily on the daily chart. I think that's a fantastic look. Also, though, we're kind of coming into a pivotal area here, that $900.20 level. That was clearly there support earlier. Will it form as resistance for Lily on the daily chart? We haven't really had a clear interaction with it trying to break up. We had that big quitting down, but this will be our first time with a green candle interacting with that level. Let's see if we can. I think that could be a bit of a spicy level for Eli Lilly. Thank you very much, Vicky on Novak, for giving me the opportunity to look at the stock. I also love this double bounce here at 912, and the reason I like that is that was another level a couple days back that was forming as a huge level of support and resistance. Then we bounce off 914.50 is another level I really liked. We push above 916. Like, these levels I drew days ago. The fact they're still hitting shows that Eli Lilly's coming into levels. I didn't want to play this because I was like, oh, I only want to trade and play names, which in that case, though, why are you trading Palantir? Right? So stick with stocks that work for you. Lily's the type of stock I like trading. I totally missed this opportunity, but I want to shout you out, Vicky on Novak, who's also saying, if Lily breaks through to 922, where will it go? Explosive? I'm not sure. I think 930. And I say 930, that was a level we've seen a couple times as well on the chart. I'll see if it shows up on the daily.
15.
I've seen it intraday a couple times. But honestly, like, if you guys have heard me wax poetic about Lily recently, it's around that 950 level. That, to me, is where all the levels come in. you've got, I mean, on Lily, after that level, you've got 950, you've got 946, you've got 944, 942s, 940s, and then I think 930s. So if Lily breaks out above 922, I think 926 was kind of a level as well, but 930 would be the level I like. You have some opportunities.
Can I interrupt?
Please do.
Please.
I have nothing to say.
Guys, there's 30,000 lots on 88 on NVIDIA. Look at that. 14,000 and change just disappeared. There it is again. And another 14,000. That's about 3 million shares, right? Shout out to the Katina, man. That's big boy size right now. This could reject 30,000 lots at 88s. Katina Man's getting out. It just got taken. Wow, bro. That just got destroyed. Shout out to the Katina Man. What is going on? Look at that tape action there, right into 113 Adara. That was wow, that was ridiculous buying power, man. These algos are just wild, bro. Unreal. There it goes. Now we're dancing with 113. Do we get the clean break of, and there's a zillion lots waiting at 113 as well. No, not as big as 88s. Definitely a lot smaller. We're talking about 4,000 lots there at 113 from what we can see. Who knows what's sitting there on the iceberg. Shout out to the dang Katina man. Took this. Where'd you take this from, bro? 108? Energy 108? Remember that channel? 107.80. So yeah, hey, you know, we're a couple of pennies off there.
Apparently there's NVIDIA news, says Darwin. I haven't seen it. I'm gonna pull it up. I know Jensen was speaking at Communicopia at 10:20 a.m. I'm pulling up to see if I'm here.
Okay.
Hearing anything on it.
I'll look.
I'm looking here as well. Oh, okay, here it is. Semaphore reporting that U.S. is closer to greenlighting NVIDIA chips for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Now, if you understand what's going on here, guys.
She's like, I'm gonna be the buyer.
Anything Saudi, she's pro Saudi. No, shout out Ram, man. Doing the absolute most in a good way. No, what is at play here, guys, is look, the Middle East is not gonna, cede to the national security concerns of the West. It's never been the Middle East's way to do that. So the question is, do these Middle Eastern buyers share these GPUs, these AI processing chips with the Chinese? And that's kind of been the concern of the Biden administration, not wanting to sell to these startups in Dubai, in Qatar, Abu Dhabi, in Riyadh now, obviously, that's another big one. Do they sell to them or not? So there was restrictions possibly going to be in place there. So it looks as if, we're going to be able to sell there. Now, let's call a spade a spade. The Chinese were using AWS. You don't need the Middle East. They're using American companies. So it's kind of comical there, but they're doing what they can, It's the life of a regulator. Anyway, so 113 still in play right now, guys, on NVDA, up 4.5%, and that 113 level has not been breached. We are at high day 113 right now, haven't got taken out, but the Fuchs did find a bit of a top locally, and there goes 113, Adara. This is absolutely going to the high side here. The Katina man is holding this still. I think we pop up here. Let's see exactly what we get on NVDA. What's the situation? Do we go? I'm going long. Whatever, bro. Let's come what may here. We'll look to weather. Oh, big size at 20. Let's sit here at possibly a mid-20s. We'll look to defend 113 as well. If it wants to break down, then we'll get out, and that will be a loser. And that's just the way it is. That's what trading is. But there's a lot of momentum right now on these here markets, and we want to participate, not just anticipate. Let's go into that $0.25, baby. Big seller at the $0.25 locally. They're preventing it from going up. Yeah, every time it weasels in to 24 or 25s, it is met with a wall of selling. How long does that last for? Can you take over for a second there so I can put in my stops?
Yeah, I can definitely take over there. I am going to be doing the lesson soon for you guys. Yeah, let me guys let me know what you're going to look at. Like I said, I'm probably going to switch this in, but I want to take my screenshots and stuff first before I do that. So Chippy Rippy says Vikia Novak. Let's take a look at AMD. Let's take a look at some of the other chips. We saw ARM flexing its muscles earlier.
Ooh.
We haven't looked at a lot of these other semis though. We have AMD here currently up more than 1%. What will it do at 11:45? We'll find out, Lisa, soon, perhaps. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Okay. This is great. I love this. This is the type of support resistance flip-flop I really like. We have that. We wick into 143, sell off, come back. Then we bounce basically off that wick level here around 142s to the upside, come back, bounce again. Like it's just higher highs, higher lows in a really beautiful, kind of sharp, intense way. Then we get a little bit of a pause here, but look where we pause. That's right. It's the top of that wick at 1 43.50. We find support there. We're up more than $1 since that point. So lots of support, resistance, interactions there, flip-flop, symmetry, symbiosis, mirroring action happening on AMD. Let me know when you're ready to go with NVIDIA. I'll keep talking. In the meantime, we have SPCE. Let's talk about SPCE. SMCI up 5%. Oh, you need to go back on my side here at SMCI. Maybe that's the issue. I haven't been trading you. And well, no, I'm joking. I'm joking, kind of. But I'm saying like those spreadier tickers are my wheelhouse. So I need to be back with those. I do like the bout support resistance flip here at 425. That was a level 2. Oh, well, Adara, what are you doing? 425, higher highs, higher lows. Really good look here for SMCI. I also like how the way we pop up 430. That's a bit of a flat top break, right? Top, top, top. Higher low, kablam! We're up $4 from that level. And then last but not least, I want to look at Apple for the Piper. Let's see if I can pipe on Apple. The Piper saying Apple along here. So my thing is, I honestly kind of think Apple looks the most bearish of the Mag 7s. But my caveat is I want to see what we do with 221s. If 221s do something for me, then maybe it would be along. The reason I think it looks bearish is we've wicked almost into 222s. One topping tail candle, 2 topping tail candle, 3 topping tail candle. If we have all of these and we can't make a higher low, how you doing?
Good, Adira. We're whiffling and waffling right at my entry over here, so I'm unsure what to do with this. I don't mind adding at 105. 113.05, and then I'm going to really keep a bit of a tighter stop there. There's obviously a seller at the $0.25. Every time we move into that $0.25, we're met with a wall of selling. The seller looks like they did move down a skosh from 25 pennies to about 20 pennies, because last time we ascended into 20 pennies, I felt we were met with that same wall of selling. So obviously we just saw 3 million lots get taken out there. So it's not about the buying power that's lacking. It's whether there is a conviction among traders or these algos or whoever is moving these markets to continue with this ascent here on NVIDIA. Here comes 20 pennies again. Let's see. We're moving up, but like, look, we've been holding in this holding pattern for a hot minute here on NVDA. So we'll see if we get that break. I haven't been filled on the dips down. I guess there's been liquidity vacuums there that really haven't been filled because both wicks breached 105 and I didn't get filled for a better price. So break even at the moment, not able to break through the top, but I see 2 kind of invert bottoming tail candles right now on the 1, albeit it is on the 1, but we are putting in lower highs on the on the 1 minute chart. Now, you should know that the 10 exponential on the 5 is hanging out at 112.65. So we could descend, realistically, just in front of there. There we go. Now we got filled and we will get stopped out as it does breach there. Now, let's see what we do here. Do we get right back in? Or what's the situation? Is this a specialist breakdown to take us below 113, then move back quick as you like? Typically, that's what happens. So I'm keeping an eye on this. This candle descended into 85s, right back above 113 over here. It looks like a bit of a hammer candle forming right now, but I don't want to get cut up on this name and give back profits. Now there's a buyer at 113, it looks like. So somebody's buying this at 113. There he goes. Gets taken out. Let's keep watching right now. Is there anything that can show us the hand of traders right now? Is there anybody moving up on the bid? Well, we're right above 113 again. Do we hold this level? I'm going long. Let's see. Okay, so we're long here. Where would he get? We got 7s. Now we're going to have to give this more room. We can't just take it out on the break of 113. If we're going to ride this, we got to give it a little bit of room, knowing full well the last candle descended into 85. So let's see if we can get back above that get back above that 20 penny level, knowing that we did find some support at 85s. But remember what I told you, that seller moved down from 25 into 20, and it looks like that seller is moving incrementally down because we keep putting in lower highs right now on the book and on the 1 minute chart. So we'll have to pack our patience here. Now we're in the money, but it's nothing, right? I mean, we need to get a lot more than this on this trade. This is not why you trade NVIDIA. NVIDIA moves dollars, baby, not pennies. So if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. I don't give a what. Here we go again. Let's go. Sorry, Derek.
I just like the way you said it.
There we go, baby. Let's go. We're about almost 20 pennies in the money here. Let's go, NVIDIA, bro. Let's go. 25s. We need to take out that 25 top, baby. Well, we're going to have to wait for that. There's the 25s, and there goes the 25s, and there we go down again. Whatever our beak here, Katina, man. Let's see if we can move up a little bit more. 29s now HOD, Adair. 30s now HOD. Let's go, baby. We want more. Where's the resistance level on NVDA? Shout out to everybody there. Shout out to Ram, who's very pro-Saudi. Shout out to her. Hey, no, man. You know I'm with you on that one, Ram. That's where the future is. That's the way it is. Anyway, here we go. 30s again. That's going to get taken out, and it got taken out. 33 now, HOD. Let's keep watching this, baby. What do you got there, Adara?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start the lesson of the day here. Like I said, I'm still doing all my screenshots before I switch over to the sim because I'll take some opportunities if they set up. But please interrupt me if there's any exciting updates with NVIDIA. In the meantime, we're going to talk about gone lines because they're here today and gone tomorrow. So basically, they were developed by W.D. Gone. He was an influential 20th century trader, and his lines help us predict price movement using geometric angles. And so they might seem complex, but they do give you some unique insight opportunities into trends and turning points. Also, guys, by the way, if you're looking at the lesson, you're thinking, hey, why aren't trades happening? I'm looking at some tickers. Think about those tickers. You have just under half an hour left to vote in the chat for the afternoon segment. Explanation point, join, space, $, ticker. Please let us know while we get that lesson going. So what are GAN lines? They're basically going to be trend lines drawn from significant highs and lows on a chart, but unlike traditional trend lines, they're going to be constructed at specific geometric angles. And the most famous is going to be the 45-degree line because according to Gone, who someone was saying who is 100 years old, no, he was just like from the 20th century. So he's unfortunately likely deceased, but that was his deal. And so according to him, the 45-degree angle represents the perfect balance between time and price. So this was the area, the sweet spot here between price and between time. And in that sweet spot, every unit of time, there's going to be an equal unit of price movement. Why is he focusing on geometric angles, though? Well, it's because Gone believed that the markets were governed by natural laws, which include geometry, and basically that price movements can follow predictable patterns that we plotted at specific angles. And you're thinking, hey, that kind of sounds like Fibonacci's, right? You'd be correct. Kind of an interesting look there. But also, it's the depth is worth noting here. So steeper angles are worth noting beyond the 45. So you've got, for example, 37, 63.75 and 75 degrees. Those indicate a stronger uptrend. But then if you've got some trend angles here below the 45, like the 26.25 and 15, they suggest a weaker, more gradual trend. But each of these lines does serve as a form of dynamic support or resistance as price moves across them. So for example, if you've got a rising market here, the price might find support at a 45-degree angle. If that breaks, the level of support could be the 63.75 degree line. So here's some examples of Gone trend lines. And it looks, if you think, hey, this kind of looks like fib, but in a triangle, it kind of does, right? You've got your line, that is your 45-degree line. Look at all these interactions with that 45-degree line. And then look what happens to the price when you break above them, right? Isn't that really cool? And we have all these other lines the price might interact with. And in this case, we're seeing some interactions with the 75. Interact a couple times here at the 63.75. We've also got some interactions here at this line, right? So lots of different interactions. Again, it's not always going to be this clean, but sometimes it sets up and it's worth noting. Let's talk about comparing to Fibonacci's here, because you might be already familiar with Fibonacci's, and as I kind of alluded to, much like Gone lines, they're based on angles found naturally in nature. A little redundant, but that's cool. Let's keep talking. Naturally in nature. So both Gone lines and Fib fans are used to identify potential support resistance levels, but the Fib fans are based on Fib ratios like 38% and 62%, while Gone lines focus purely on geometry, specific angles of price movement. But here's where it gets more interesting, because Gone lines are basically meant to be used at precise angles independent of market conditions. So with Gone lines, you're focusing on the precision and the angular action, but Fib fans are basically to be used as retracement percentages from previous moves. So basically, Gone lines are being used independent of conditions, using them based on the triangle, but Fibonacci fans are incredibly dependent, much like kind of all Fib actions. Shout out to Tammy, the Fibonacci princess, who's been on the show a couple times there. And Fib fans are going to be based on movement from previous moves. So here's an example of Gone versus Fibs. That is a lot of lines. So you've got, in
Amazon
some ways
is going,
here.
Just
Oh,
want
sorry.
to mention the Katina man says Amazon is going, guys. Keep an eye on that. Sorry,
It's back at that key
Thank you.
179.50 area. That's interesting. Oh, excuse me. But look here, there's actually some interactions between the GON and the fibs. So you see you've got your GON line here, your 45. You also have your 0.3282 fib. Look, this serves as support. We break below it, push lower, then it serves as resistance, and then we push back above it. So these lines can be really key. I think that's actually pretty important. So let's talk as well here about how you identify support and resistance here with the GON line. So in an uptrend, you're going to draw GON lines from the lows to the high at the specific angle, so 45, 63, 75, and so on. They're going to act as guides for where the price might, not necessarily guaranteed, but could find support if it starts retracing. For example here, if you've got price falling and breaking below the 45-degree line, it can suggest a deeper correction, which can potentially go to the 63.75-degree line. So much like fibs, we're using these lessons as areas you can kind of range within, have that Adair-Panera interaction. Also, let's talk about predicting turning points with GONs. So by analyzing where the price interacts with the GON line, you can basically predict reversals. And as such, if you've got the price falling below a GAN line but failing to break below another one, that could actually signal a reversal and a return to the uptrend. So failure to touch these lines can be just as key as the way they interact with the lines.
Bang.
What about price falling below the line? That can be pretty key here too. Yeah, so that, sorry, there we go, I'm behind on the slide. Next slide, next trade. So we're gonna talk here about dynamic trend lines for different time frames, which is one way you can use GON lines. Really, really good feature is their adaptability across time frames. So whether or not you've got daily, weekly, or minute charts, GONs can be applied and the geometric nature of them basically means that they adjust according to the scale of the chart, which provides a consistent framework for trend analysis. It doesn't matter what the previous move was, it'll react geometrically. What about combining with other indicators? So GON lines can sign on their own, but they become even more powerful. They have extra potency when you combine them with other tools here like moving averages or with the fibs. So for example, if you've got the Fibonacci level coinciding with a GON line, the chances of that level holding a support are more key. Sorry guys, I promise I'm almost done the lesson there. We're almost done here. We're just gonna go over these one more time before it's gone with GON lines. So let's talk about some criticisms and some controversies with the GON lines. Let's talk here about basically some things that people have issues with, which is which line will work. There are different types of lines, much like fibs. You have different levels and they're not always going to hit. GON lines, you have even more, as Sharif was talking about. So many lines and not enough time, you may say, or not enough chart action. But with GON, you have to consider the uncertainty around which line is going to hold this support or resistance level. In the examples we saw, the 45 has been pretty good, but you really never know, right? And with these 9 lines potentially in play, it's not always clear which one is going to have the most impact. Some other criticism has to do with the regards to geometric trend lines. Some chartists argue that the idea of the geometric trend lines is a bit too rigid. You know, they're chartists. They want to be more creative. They don't like those rigid lines. They're like, we want to be Jackson Pollock. We don't want to have all of this like symmetry going on over here. So the market conditions can be a little more chaotic than a simple geometric pattern necessarily allows for or suggests, which can make these lines a skosh unreliable in market conditions. But it is worth noting, like I said, one thing I think is pretty cool about these, learning about them here, is that they're kind of removed from market conditions, right? So these patterns exist regardless. If they hit, that can be pretty interesting. But that also kind of brings us into our last point, which is the lack of predictive certainty. So even if you have one line holding, there's really no way to confirm that the next one will move or which one you'll hit after the price. And that can make the GON lines more reactive than predictive in fast-moving markets. But despite the criticisms, many traders do find value in them. Basically, to wrap all of this up here, guys, GON lines are a really powerful tool. They can give you unique insight into market trends and turning points. But with all of them, you want to maybe use them in tandem, find some confluence with your style, and make sure they work for you by keeping them first, maybe in the sim, and just figuring it out. Speaking of the sim, I'm going to be heading back there for the last 30 minutes. I'm going to take some screenshots first. How are you doing over here?
Good, Adair. I'm short the future. I'm going to give it the old community college try here at 19,000, knowing that this has been a level. Now, if I get bamboozled out of the trade, it zigs and zags, and that's fine. We're gonna risk enough here and put the stop in the right place. I completely get that this is a counter trend move, but I want to give it a shot here at the 19,000 point area on the NQ September contract. By the way, I think we roll over that contract next week. So I think we'll be using it on Monday because the expiration date for it is going to be not this Friday, tomorrow, or 2 days, excuse me. It's going to be the Friday subsequent, but I believe our kind of move here on the floor is we switch to it on the Monday prior. What I always like to look at to see which one is doing more volume on the day, right? So usually as you get closer to the expiration of one contract, the other contract starts picking up in volume. And so that's what I'll be looking for there. Once the new contract supersedes the old one in terms of volume, I think that's when we should be looking at it. But you can choose whatever to do whatever you want. Now we're back above $62 on the TQQs. I'm charting on the NQ September contract. I'm executing on the TQQs for leverage reasons. We'll see what we get here. We're zigging and zagging. A couple of topping tails right now through 19,100. Nothing to write home about. You know, this trade is a higher risk trade just because it is a counter trend trade. The market has been quite strong since the latter part of the day, up 0.62. So, you know, taking it at the highs, always a little risky there. So we'll see what we get, and we will not get upset. So keeping my eye on, I'm switching to NQ contracts around next week too. Shout out to Day Trader Cut. I think that's what most traders do. They keep an eye on the volume, see which big boy, which contract, is moving big boy, and we're doing big boy shares, I should say. And then they look to execute there. So it looks like we're still whiffling and waffling at 19,000 right now. I haven't been stopped out. We're short 95, 62.95. We're printing 61.95, We're printing 62.03s. If we break sevens, that's gone. I'm gone there. Otherwise, we'll look to reset if it does end up rejecting the level, that 19,000, and comes back down. Ideally, I don't get stopped out and it tanks, obviously. But that is not what we always get there. Keeping an eye on Apple as well, because Apple, I think Adara astutely pointed out, it is one of the weaker ones right now in terms of Mag 7 names, especially as it relates to the recent price action on the future. So Apple coming back into 221, but it looks way weaker than any of its counterparts. So maybe if this doesn't work out on this futures trade, we'll look to the AAPL to possibly execute maybe short on there. Now, what I've been saying for the last few days is like I feel like 220 has been a level on Apple, and I probably will get stopped out there. Yeah, and I did get stopped out. So I just want to reset here and get ready. If it does reject 19,000, I want to be ready to take this short. So we'll pack our patience. I got to get that out of the way. So basically what I was saying on Apple is I'm kind of biased as 220's acting as a level, I feel now, of resistance as opposed to support on Apple. So if that is the case and that kind of trend holds out, then maybe we should be looking short on Apple to, come closer to the end of the day as it possibly retraces. That's just an observation, obviously. So do with that what you will. It looks like the future may be headed up here. It's not really blowing by 19,000, but it's not giving it up either, quite frankly. And it's well above the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. So if it's going to hold up like this, we're going to be looking. Well, I don't want to jump into this long too quickly here, but I got to tell you, this is a strong futures day, at least since the midday. In fact, it was 11 o'clock on the dot when we really started making those higher highs and higher lows on the future. And it's nice because that's when the midday starts. So yeah, there's literally this candle over here at 9:50. So it looks like 10 to 11. And then right at that 9:55, we put in that big boy, or 10:55, 9:55 Central Time. We put in that big boy candle, and we really haven't looked back since. And we took out that IB high initially at 18,925, and really haven't looked back since that time. We had one little retracement here. We were thinking possible double top, and then we ended up holding up with a 10 exponential on the 5. So it's not like you even got it even deeper into the 20, or you didn't even get back into the closing print. Once you cleared the closing print and you breached the IB high, you never came back to that 18.8 2/3. So good luck for the future today, but it's putting in topping tails right now. Who knows? Maybe it retraces off 19,000. I don't have to be first to the party in order to execute on it. So if we do get that rejection, it looks like we may be rejecting again here on the futures, unable to take it, but it's still above the 10. Maybe I should wait till the 10 gets breached. But if I wait, that's an 18,950 move. And that's like 50 points from here. So I'm missing out a lot by not getting short here, but I don't want to get cut up all the time trying to get short and it making new highs. So I have to wait. Shout out to Gaurav. AVG going up in a straight line. AVGO was very strong today. It's up 4%. Shout out to Gaurav, man. He's always dropping hot lines there in the chat about stuff that's moving, always bringing stuff to my attention. So I want to shout out Gaurav, man. Always doing the absolute most in a good way. Pretty dang Panda absolutely killed it on PLCE today. This one is wild. Testing 10 again. I moved away the small cap gappers, Pretty Panda, because I had to trade these Mag 7 names and the Future, so I haven't had to look at it right now. Sharuz, Sharif, Adara, Apple is weak because the money goes out of Apple to NVIDIA. Okay, brother, so short it then on the long term. Let me know how it goes. So we'll see there. Anyway, I'm looking right now to get into the Future again if we are to reject that 19,002.5. Adara, what are you looking at?
Yeah, so I'm short Apple here in the sim, like I said, got shut down. But honestly, never shut out of these markets. That's what I love. Shout out to Real Trading. You have these opportunities. Like I said, we're going to do a lot of journaling, a lot of reflecting. And honestly, as I was doing my screenshot, I realized there were like quite a few trades there where I had, like, honestly, the entry was fine. I wasn't risking enough. I wasn't managing it appropriately. And so that's definitely something I'm going to have to reflect on in terms of the risk, because it's a little frustrating when you have at least a couple days now. The trades are solid, the entries are solid, and I am just fumbling the ball, paper handing, whatever analogy you want to use. Not a good look. And IWM was kind of the nastiest of that, but it's all good there, baby. We'll reflect on that, and I will be tweeting about some of those at TraderTV Adara. I got short Apple. Talked about 221. I said, I think it was the Piper I was responding to. I said, if we can make a higher high on Apple and we kind of flounder here around 221, it would be kind of weak to me. So I'm taking it short, 221. Look at this. Also, I don't know what setup I have in I think my setup in my book is slightly different here and my tape than it is on my live. I need to figure that out because I love this look a lot better in terms of how it moves on the tape. Oh. But I don't know why. And not the point.
Interesting.
Anyways, so Apple 221. I'm risking into 221.25. Since I've been involved, though, Sharif,
yes,
we have not moved more than 221.05s. It has been pretty weak. I'm going to be adding here a skosh. If we get into 220.80s, that was a bit of a previous level of support and resistance. If we can break below that, I would like to add. Then I want to see what we do as we push back into that 220. 220.50 was a pretty big area for me as well. Shout out to Sharif for mentioning the 220s. My other thing with Apple is, if you're looking for something into 220s, like, hey, what else is interesting? I found 219.80 to be really key. We broke below that on the Apple day, and then we quadrupled. I mean, to be clear, we came back up after. But that was a huge quadruple level. Then, same like yesterday, that breaking above the 220.80 was when we really got that pop into new high of days into the long, right? So those are things you want to keep an eye on. Rivian Millionaire saying they think the chip stocks are back. I'm wondering if they ever left. I feel like they keep making cameo appearances. They're like recurring characters on a TV show. You don't see them every episode, but you know they're always there in that universe. They're doing something. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something. That's what I feel like those chip stocks are. Oh, wow. Amazon Express delivering some profit to Sean, and I'm sure many little shareholders there. Great look here for AMZN. But you know what? As I'm in Apple, there's another Make 7 name I would consider shorting here, and that Make 7 name goes by the name of NVDA. Honestly, to be clear, I think this could be a bit premature as of a short. I would probably like to see it a little bit closer to that 113. Honestly, the area that's showing up in my chart and the area actually, ironically, that Sharif got long, 113.16s. That area, if we break below that, that could actually be interesting. Not just, I think it just shows confluence, in my opinion, what I see on the chart. But the fact that we can't saliently hold on to, in any kind of salient, significant way, this 113.50 area for right now, that might be a short for me. I'll wait, I'll watch, I'll scheme, I'll plot, I'll scheme, I'll get money. But one thing I've noticed, I've been too cautious sometimes. That's also been a little bit of the bane of my existence. What's great, too, I think what shows progress is when you have new problems. You don't want to keep having the same problems, right?
Sure.
Right? Before my problems were my entries. Now my entries I feel like pretty good about. My issues are how I risk. And so if that's going to be or risking, and you know what I mean, like being late to the move, whatever, that type of thing, which I guess maybe also has to do with entries, but I digress. You guys have 9 minutes to vote, and I have about 18 minutes to see if I want to take this NVIDIA sim trade in addition to my Apple short, which is kind of waffling here. How are you doing, Sharif, in your TQs?
TQs are at 19,009. We'll see if this one wants to ride up a little bit more. I am seeing some weakness, Adara, coming on the markets, and that has me a little bit concerned about my future long over here. So we're going to pack our patience and see what we get. We are long 16s. Okay, well, if we can pump back up here, I'd be pleased as dang punch. So Microsoft at highs. Meta close to highs, 507. 507.83 is the high on Meta. Amazon just printed highs. Apple, you made that point very clear, very dead on the day. It is living up to the name that I like to call it, the dead one. And Tesla, not much going on there. It's, below 224, but above VWAP, so let's put some respect there. But NVIDIA didn't even make it down into the 10 exponential. It's still a little bit above the 10 exponential. We haven't really printed anything aggressively new on NVIDIA to the high side. So let's calm down a little bit here about the ascent of NVIDIA. But I don't see it making its way down quite yet into the 10 exponential on the dang 5. And there we go. We got the print on the fuge. So nice I still want to add. So let's go back. I canceled it by accident. I'm going to put my ad into defend 62. If it does come back into 62, I want more smoke. But other than that, we're going to let this one ride. Did I get out everything?
I was going to say, I don't think it's showing on the position board that.
I made a mistake. I fat-fingered it, Dara, and that's the way it is. So, yeah, okay. Well, I made a mistake there. I fat-fingered. I got out the entire position rather than a beak wetter. So that's my mistake. Probably happened again. It's happened multiple times. So we'll keep tabs there. So we're out of the trade, sadly. But I'll look to get back into 62 if it does sit up there. So packing my patience, let's see what the other Mag 7 names are doing. We don't have to just trade the fuge. Microsoft, very strong here, guys. It really does look, it's not just Microsoft. Obviously, Meta, very close to highs. Microsoft just printed highs. Amazon at highs. NVIDIA, not far off highs, quite frankly. It was really Tesla, Apple, and Google that are really under par today or not really living up to the standard, despite the fact that Tesla got off the Stein. What's going on over there, Katina, in the Amazon trade, eh? Yeah, the Amazon trade, the Katina man's printing up a storm on Amazon as it weasels its way back above 180 and knocking the door of 181. 181 could be coming awfully soon, baby. So we'll keep tabs on that. And look at Apple decline while all the other ones are strong. Get it, Adara. It breaches 221. It's at the 20 exponential moving average, looking uber weak, even though it is green on the day, but it feels uber weak. No question about it. All right, our order there to defend 62 still in place. Haven't gotten filled. We're still holding at the fifth of a dollar right now. Looking to move into a quarter of a dollar. Very disappointed in myself for having fat fingered here, but we're going to keep tabs on this one and see if we can get in again. Let's look at some of the other ones that we were looking at today. Some of these small cap gappers. Looks like AILE is really dropping off aggressively here. So we traded that one well, but we got at a dodge once it gave away the level there at the $0.50. We'll keep tabs on that. Woof. Yeah, okay, not much to do there. CNEY, this one was the big boy mover. Now, this is an interesting trade. CNEY is at the 10 exponential on the 5, and this has been awfully strong. That's where I'm going to look now. See, do I have it loaded up? No, I have. Okay, I'll take off Gumma. Oh, nice call out, Gaurav. You called it. I'm just looking at the GME chart here. Gaurav was looking at that short off, I believe, the fifth of a dollar. So shout out to you, Gaurav, there. I didn't take it. I didn't feel quite like it was ready yet. Now, let's look at CNEY. I'm likely going to go long here for a 10 exponential bounce, and then I'll put my out at the fifth of a dollar. So if it does breach that fifth of a dollar, we'll be gonzino on this one. Let's see if we can step into this one. Yeah, there we go. So now we'll put the out there. And look, guys, I want to remind you guys that if you're using limit stops on these small cap gappers, make sure to spread between the trigger and the limit accounts for any areas of illiquidity. The bottom can drop off this stock in a heartbeat, okay? And so if you are not ready with a basically a spread between your triggering order, your triggering price, and your limit price, it's going to blow through your stop and you're not going to get filled and you're going to be really upset. So I'm going to account for that by putting a 9-penny spread on that one. So we'll put that in there and we'll set up a beak wetter at 35. Because what's life without Wimsey? What are you looking at, Adair?
Yeah, I'm in that NVIDIA short. I want to clarify again, in the sim. And honestly, I stand by this short. 113.50s, I should have probably waited. I'm short here 113.49s. Should have probably waited for a retest. I didn't end up waiting for a retest because I liked that we were pushing kind of lower there. But I am continuously emboldened by the fact that NVIDIA cannot get above 113.70s. We can't even, I've been watching this book, this is twice now. Now, of course, it'll prove me wrong, Sharif, that's what it does. But we get to 113.69s and NVIDIA's like, oh my God, do I have to go higher? I'd rather not. I'm like, okay, cool, NVIDIA, thank you. Now we kind of push above here, so this is where we get out. But that was a fun journey I had with NVIDIA. Apple also stopping me out here as we get into that. Those are both trades in LaSim. Happy I tried both of them. And like I said, this is, my trading, I need to be cleaner. The trades that work are the ones that are cleaner. Also shout out to Sharif and the stocks he's screaming at. But the thing is, right, like you want trades that are clean, you want trades that make sense. Some of those charts that I was doing the screenshots, I was like, ugh, big yikes. I don't like that type of move. I want to shout out Vicky on Novak as well, saying, talking about the personal reflections, basically like saying the ideas are on, but your caution can get in the way. Yeah, right, sometimes that happens. You have to figure out why that happens, and that's why you have to trust yourself, right? I talked about this. That's what got me yesterday. And it got me a little bit today as well. There's this quote from Chance the Rapper that I really like. I think this is weirdly the second time I've shouted him out today, but this world will make you second guess your first mind. And you have to really trust your first mind. To be fair, there are times, obviously, where that's not the case. That's where risk management comes in, so I need to work on too. But if you have the idea, why are you going against your idea? And that's why I said I was so upset. From one of my first trades today, I should have gotten out of the Q's trade flat when I saw something I didn't like in the book. I didn't. I thought I knew better than the market. I saw it based on what I was seeing in the book, and that's what you got to do there. We'll figure out what happens. And that's, again, I'm willing to learn every single day. Guys, you have 2 minutes left to vote for your tickers. Exclamation point join, space, $, your ticker. Because we want to know what makes you guys tick today. And man, there have been a lot of tickers to make you tick.
What's going on with Google, guys? Sure. Google's moving here really aggressively, Adira, and I don't know what the hell's going on here. It could just be a regular market pump, but it just jumped 68 pennies, 71 pennies. Something's going on here with Google, guys. What is this? Google introduces audio overview in Notebook. That can't be it.
They're not even tweeting about it. No one's talking about it in social media. There's not a lot of attention for this one.
What? Okay.
I don't know. Sorry. Sometimes that can be
engaged. It's just the market? Yeah, well, it is just the market. The Katina Man is $2 in the money on Amazon. I know we pumped up nicely, Katina Man, but Google looks like it's outsized over here. Show it. Look at this. We're really pumping here. $0.75 right now on Google. Ram, can we show the chart? Big boy moves on Google. Big boy. Such a troll, bro. Such a troll. Anyway, yeah, that was. I thought there was news on Google there. I saw a big boy candle like that, and you didn't see that. Well, you saw it on some other ones as well. I guess maybe I got excited there. 19,063 Katina Man. He's printing up storms on all his stocks today. You had a good day today, both of you guys, man. Shout out to both of you guys. You guys killed it. Big boy trading on the big boy desk. Can you expect any different? So I was able to get some nice trades here while Daryl was dropping hot lines on the future. I did take the future or the TQQs for a nice 20 penny winner there. Actually, a little bit more than 20 pennies. Happy with this one, but true to form, paper handing the trades is my specialty. So if you're into that kind of thing, join us on the midday show. No, it's continuing to go there. The strength on the TQQs is very well noted. What a good look. I also was able to wet my beak there on CNEY. Was able to take profits at 33s. Now I'm waiting at 43s. Let's see if this one can hold up. The only reason I got into this bad boy is because it found support at the 10 exponential on the 5. If it makes a new low, I'm gone. So that new low takes us below the low there, 126. So my stop is going to move up a little bit over here from where it was. I'm going to move it up into 122. This one's zigging and zagging, and we know what this one can do. The bottom can drop off at any time on CNEY. It's around for a good time, but certainly not a long time, unless it's going to become one of those outliers that become small cap gappers into large caps or mid caps or whatever. But yeah, it's not going to wait for me. I'm not going to wait around for it to find out. Here we go back into $1.34, and we've had a lot of selling here at that $1.34, which obviously means there's a big boy seller. Let's see what kind of lots we get. Okay, so the lottage is not big there, which leads me to believe that there is an iceberg order out on the other side of 134 as a seller, whether as a short or as a profit taker. But there's someone selling up a storm here on CNEY at 134. We've been rejecting that level ever since giving back that level at about 125, excuse me. And then every ascent into 134 has been met with selling. We are putting in a rounded bottom in the sense that we are putting in higher lows, not necessarily, though, higher highs. Let's see if we can break that 134. I've got to be off this desk in like 4 minutes, so I don't know if I'm going to hold it for all that long. But the stop's in place, and the beak wetter's in place too, Adira. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I am trying, we've got like however much time to close. Like I said, I closed both my previous shorts. I'm shorting Tesla here. I'm aware this probably looks really dicey. I want to talk about it.
This 224.50 level was a level I had on Tesla from this morning that I wrote down. And I wrote it down because look at that bottom of the V-shaped retracement, right? Great, look. Then we come out here, we get this big old bullish push into 224.50. And what do we back it up with? Nothing. So I watched the book because my initial instinct was go long when we break back above 224.50. I figured, support resistance flip, that could always happen. But I said, Adara, the market's so strong, look for it as a long. I see the 224.50, and you know what we do? We don't even get back there. It's a really anemic push back up. So I said, if we start rejecting that 224.25, we get a whole flush of red in the book there. So I was like, dope, go short. I am risking into 224.50. I got short 224.25, so risking 25 cents. We're gonna add a few shares. Again, this isn't the sim, guys. I was trading live earlier today, got shut down. I'll be back again live tomorrow, back on the saddle, but I am gonna be adding to this position here as we break below 224. It's just a, scintilla of shares because I want to be able to build this position to the downside. Now, where am I taking profits? We're going to get some out here for sure around that 223.30 area. The 30-cent level has been a level for Tesla. And I said, you see that when you look at enough, order books, you'll see sometimes, on certain stocks, for example, 222.30 was interesting on Tesla, which it was. 223.30 was interesting. 224.30, I just watched. There was a bit of interaction there as well. So we'll be taking some out here at 223.30s for sure. I will be saving some as well for 223s. The way I've structured this, I basically can have 3 outs. So 223.30s, 223s, then I would like a piece for the dream there at that 222.70 area. We'll wait and see what happens. Okay, we have the incredible Mr. Lib asking if there is a head and shoulders there on NVIDIA here. What was this? On the 3 hours time frame. Let's take a look. Inverse head and shoulders, okay. This could be a bullish look. We'll take a look at the 3 hour time frame for you. The incredible Mr. Lib, that seems pretty incredible. How are you doing? Are you feeling incredible, Sharif, over here?
I'm feeling okay, dear.
Nice.
Incredible might be a step up from what I'm feeling.
Oh, I see this actually. Okay, incredible Mr. Lib, I kind of see this. 101, head. Some shoulder reaction here, 105s. Bit of a neckline potentially at 108s. Let's see what happens though. I think that 118 level has been kind of interesting there in the 3 hours, so we'll see if that materializes. We are well in the money, by the way, in the sim money on our Tesla trade. And that's why, honestly, why was I just not waiting for these levels? I had this level all morning, which is why I took it. And so it's that's what you got to do. We're going to try to get some out here at 33s. We'll take out a third of the position at 33s. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of this trade.
Bro.
Thank you so much. It's why you have to believe in your levels and trust yourself. This is a trade I would take live. Happy I got to take it in the sim. Again, not the same thing, but it's about working on your process, which, like I said, is the biggest thing I've been focusing on as of right now. Let's see if we get that fill. But I guess you're almost done soon.
Yeah. The only thing I want to talk about, Adara, is CNEY. It's the only trade that I've got left on here. I want to mention that there's big selling, and the price action reflects that on the chart at 134. I don't know how long I'm going to stay in here. I moved up my stop to account for the range that's established subsequent to the breach of that 134 level right at that 125. We keep weaseling up into 134 only to be met with wallet selling. So I feel like the rounded bottom is manifesting here. The only question that I'm going to ask myself is whether we get a specialist breakdown to push everybody out through the trade and then pop it right back up and continue on our merry way. And that's really what I'm going to look at there. So I'm not going to be able to manage this trade, obviously, while I'm at the big desk, but I am employing stops. And I want to stress again that when I do trade these small cap gappers and I use these stop orders, it's been my habit always from when I was day trading these small cap gappers exclusively during the pandemic to always have a wider spread between my triggering price on the stop and the limit price. That is if you're using limit stop orders. If you are using market stops, that's not something you need to concern yourselves with, but you're also gonna, not get that good price from time to time, but you'll always get filled on your stop. So I want to point that out because that's exactly what I'm doing here. I gave this about a 10-penny spread. Sometimes the bot or the selling can just eat up all those levels. So you can get like 10 pennies worth of levels just get taken out by one big sell order, and that doesn't leave any liquidity for you to be able to get out of the position. That's what I want to stress with these small cap gappers, especially when you're employing their stops. I hope everybody prints up a storm. Get it, Adara.
Thank you so much, Sharif. Go get it on the big screen. Guys, you can check out Sharif and Sean and Neil in just 4 minutes. That is right, in 4 minutes. You can see our afternoon segment, which is brought to you guys by you. It's our segment. Real Trading brings it, but it is the audience segment. So in case you're like, wait, how do I do that? Yeah, so just watch our show. You'll have ample opportunities. You have exactly 2 hours and 50 minutes. So from 11 a.m. to 1:50 p.m. to vote for your ticker of choice. Right now, the window has closed as it is past 11:50 or past 1:50 p.m. But just worth noting there, definitely check us out tomorrow for those opportunities. Also, Tesla here. This is a sim trade, but again, I want to talk about this because I'm happy with this because I traded this exactly how I would have in the live. This is a trade I would have taken live, and I want to talk about what I've learned from it thus far because I think, I think learning in front of people is pretty key because hopefully other people can learn from your mistakes, learn from what you're doing, all that. So like I said, like the 224.50 level, I used it as my stop for a short at 224.25. Added once we broke below 224, pretty clean breakdown there. Then I get out some at the 224.30 level. Again, this comes from previous levels I like in the stop. We're gonna be taking some out as well here at the 223, and then we have a final third that I would be like to probably deposit here at, I said like this kind of, there was this range here around 222.75 that was interesting. If we could get 222.50, I'd be pleased as punch. But right now, Tesla's struggling to give us 223s. In terms of where I'm moving my stop at this point, I am trusting what I see in the book. So, once I got the first piece out at 223.30, I was using 223.50 because that was a level we were really having some interesting interactions with on the book and the chart. Now that we broke above 223.30 though, that is going to be the new stop here. We broke above that, so we're going to be getting out the remainder of that position. Really happy with how I managed this. I would say where's the next trade, but also there is no more trade because that is the end of the show for me. So 2 minutes left. We cannot wait until to see you guys all tomorrow. Yes, sorry, I think because they switched to the sim, it didn't show on the position board, but we did get short here, 224.25, added at 224s there. That was the position. Some mentions here of Broadcom as well, AVGO, and that one's been AVGoing since its earnings. Day one of earnings was going to be there on Friday, so that's been... Look at this Broadcom, this is crazy. Look at that support resistance flip here, 149.30, pushing higher. Bit of an issue here at 150, and then it just bounces like crazy. We're up a cool $5 now from that 150 level. This has been a great look. Thank you guys in the chat all saying thanks and goodbye. We thank you and we say goodbye as well. And just 1 minute left. NVIDIA. Okay, I just typed DA, which is not a ticker. Shout out to Dada, which is one. But yeah, NVIDIA, look at that 114 pounds. We come back, we make a pretty bearish candle here and push back higher. Is there anything NVIDIA can't do? Maybe hold on to 114, but right now it looks like they are. It's a really interesting look there. And then one more ticker to leave us be here, Apple. I said if Apple could make a higher high and hold on to 221s, it looks bullish. 221s holding for now, but we did make a slightly lower high with another topping tail candle. I think if Apple falls from that ledge at 221, I think it could do something for the shorts. We'll have to find out there in the last 2 hours with Sean and Neil. Hope you guys had fun. I had so much fun being here with you guys as we do every single day. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Peace out here. We'll see Sharif, Sean, and Neil. Bye.
Ramram's always trolling me. Welcome to the afternoon rundown, everyone.